And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Traveling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside SPX off. Bring in SPX off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good evening, everybody. You join us live from the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. We're T-minus 42 minutes just past and counting, whilst trying to dodge a little bit of weather as well. As you may see, it's a little bit breezy. The weather, we're monitoring a storm to the southwest. We're just keeping an eye out though, but according to SpaceX for now, we're still on for a launch at 41 minutes past the hour. My name's Ryan Caton. I still don't understand why it says that in my info card, but anyways, moving swiftly on. For now, joining me from the studio, Adrian, how are you doing on this, I was going to say fine evening. It's not that fine, but it looks okay for now.
I think we're gonna call it like fine-ish. It's there. There's a
Fine-ish
chance.
evening.
Yeah, it's a fine-ish evening. It seems like we will talk about the weather more later. But I mean, so far, if you look at that camera, it looks cool, right? Everything looks good. There are some concerns, and we'll get to that. But we'll see if we see a launch in 41 minutes from now.
For now, we are remaining optimistic. The sky is at least a shade of blue, something very different from where I'm from, where the sky is never a shade of blue. So there's some things to be optimistic about. For now, though, Adrian, I'll throw it over to you. If you could give us a little bit of information about, first of all, what we're going to see. I mean, I think at this point everyone knows we're going to see a Falcon 9 launch, but this isn't Starlink. It's a customer payload. We have Türksat 6A inside of that payload fairing. And yeah, I think many people from Europe, Turkey in particular, are going to be quite excited about this one.
Absolutely. Türksat 6A is, of course, a communication satellite, which will provide communications for two areas, which they call the West Zone and the East Zone. The West Zone covering the British Islands in the west, Scandinavian countries in the north, North Africa in the south, and the Caspian Sea in the east. And the East Zone will cover Anatolia, the Russian Federation, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and the China national boundary in the east. It's overall a satellite constellation that provides, and there we can see the payload for today. It provides, well, communication services. You actually probably know Türksat if you're approximately living in Europe and you had one of these older televisions that has to search for like programs in the television, because one of the satellites it will search for is Türksat. That's my first contact with them, because hey, they also have television service. So that's one of the things that you probably know about this mission. Overall, it's a beefy Türksat there. It's overall 4,250 kilograms of mass going to GTO. That's quite up there in terms of telecommunication satellites. And overall, again, it's a one single satellite that we can see in hopefully today's mission. The booster for today's mission is B1076, which will do its 15th flight after a 38-day turnaround. So that's it for the mission overview, I think. Oh, the landing is on. Just read the instructions.
Good old landing on the drone ship down in the Atlantic. So yeah, Türksat have 5 satellites currently in service, and in addition, Türksat 6A will be the 6th currently. They've been launched over the last, since 2008. Türksat 3A is the oldest one still in operation. That was launched on Ariane 5 many moons ago. So yeah, they're an established company. They've been around for a while, and they've been doing a lot of work in communications in space, just passing T-minus 38 minutes and counting in a short while. Slick 40 looking wonderful. There's some birds just, drifting around. Cars
Yeah, and
driving
we
down
should
the road.
And we should probably talk about the weather here a bit because while it looks okay, and apparently winds are not the big concern for today, what it seems, is lightning. Because you can see the storm there. We talked about it a bit before we went live, and this storm is moving slow, like really slow. It's kind of problematic situation because once they go into this lightning situation, and once they have the problem of, hey, we can no longer launch because lightning, this might stick around the launch pad for the launch window, which is today 4 hours. So it's kind of iffy situation right now. It looks like they're going for it at this moment, maybe trying to get the rocket off the launch pad before the storm arrives. But from the trajectory of the storm, it looks like it will arrive at some point, and once that happens, it's gonna look pretty bad for launch today.
Yeah, the Space Launch Stellar 45 Weather Squadron forecasting yesterday a 70% probability of violating the weather constraints today, with the primary concerns being the cumulus cloud rule, the anvil cloud rules, and the surface electric fields rule. And if you're about to say, why don't they just go tomorrow? A 24-hour delay is forecasted to have the exact same probability of violating the weather constraints with the exact same primary concerns. So classic Floridian summer weather is getting in the way here a little bit, but SpaceX are currently gunning to find a gap in the clouds, so to speak, in order to get this vehicle launched in about 36 minutes' time.
And we have some updates on that because Cape Central is under a phase 1 lightning warning now, which is the lightning watch. There's the lightning watch and the lightning warning, basically. And as I understand it, phase 1 is kind of like, hey, there could be something that doesn't look good. And phase 2 is like, please go inside. So it looks like it's moving to the Cape. It's now a warning. It's not yet a violation. So, again, this is kind of a race against the clock, it looks like.
And James Atkinson with a question here in chat. As always, tag us in chat if you have any questions. At NASA Spaceflight brings it into the queue. You know the deal by now. What is the weather? What weather is causing the delay? Winds, clouds, etc. It just looks like a big storm is currently moving, as Adrian said, relatively slowly. But it is kind of sitting at the moment between Coco and Melbourne. And it was sitting over Patrick Space Force Base not that long ago. We saw that turn to a phase 2 weather warning, but that is about 20 miles to the south of Cape Canaveral. So it's a Space Force base, but it's not the base that we're on today for this launch. So there's just some things to look out with that there. So we are keeping an eye on it. We've got, as you can see there, Carton in the background pushing the buttons. Has got the radar up if we ever need to take a look at it, and we are of course keeping an eye out on all of the official channels for that weather information. Very quickly though, as we take another look at the forecast there from the 45th Weather Squadron, JD Brown with a $5 super chat asking, is there a scrapyard for Falcon 9 first stage boosters if they suddenly suffer a RUD on the drone ship or RTS landings, and if yes, where is it located? Well, Adrian, I think we've seen on flyovers before, especially with B1058, that they kind of just truck it back to Hangar X and chop it up outside. At least I remember seeing pictures of the aft end of B1058 kind of, what's a nice word to use? Destroyed?
Yeah, it's a thing. I think there are some scrapyards where you can sometimes see like old Dragon capsules. That's a thing. But most of them, first off, we haven't really seen booster that much, like just being scrapped. That has not been happening that much. But it's I guess they would disassemble them. My feeling is if you get to a point where a booster for some reason reaches its end of life and you don't want to launch it, you probably want to disassemble it, look inside it, understand where this booster is, right? So no, there's not really a scrapyard. And we don't track like a million Falcon 9 parts flying around. There are some Falcon 9s that are placed at museums though that have been retired. And should I hit this update here?
Go for it.
Apparently, it has been communicated that 6 p.m. will be the new T0 for today's launch. So they are going a bit later. That has been communicated to our teams at the Cape. So we are looking at another delay. I'm not sure if we are ready to... Oh, we already did. Perfect.
Clock is now ticking.
Yeah.
Just over 51 minutes now. So in the field, hopefully we'll hear from one of them later. But of course, we have Max and D at the press site for today, which is on the if you're thinking, well, the view looks a little bit different. We're looking at Slick 40, but your Starlink views look different to that. We're actually closer this time around than we can get through the Starlink launches because a viewing area for customer flights like this opens up at the Space Force side of the Cape, which means we can get the cameras a lot closer, which also means luckily the heat haze is not as bad because, as you know, Florida is hot and humid, and that doesn't prove for the most optimal of viewing conditions when looking at something many miles away at ground level. So fingers crossed, we're now coming up to T-minus 51 minutes for this new 6 o'clock in the evening T0. In about 12 minutes time, we should be seeing the SpaceX launch director verifying go for propellant load, and if that doesn't happen, then maybe they'll push it again. But as we said at the top of the stream, SpaceX are effectively looking for a gap in the clouds to launch. There's a bit of a storm currently happening to the southwest of the Cape, and that's what SpaceX are keeping an eye on for the time being. But we'll remain optimistic, and hopefully B1076 will be launching no problem today. I'm going to see if there's any more questions that have come into chat. For now, though, Arcata J, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, thank you for becoming a PadRap member. And we also have Alex becoming a PadRap member, so thank you very much for those, everybody. And GS Web Productions, one of them questions and comments we get all the time, which is always wonderful to answer. Adrian, what causes the plume to expand in the upper atmosphere?
Absolutely. It's always an interesting question because you have to imagine at sea level, where this rocket is right now, there's a certain pressure that you have from the outside based on the atmosphere, right? The atmosphere is the thickest at the bottom, at the sea level, kind of. So as the rocket goes up, this force, this atmosphere, gets thinner and thinner. So basically the plume, like the exhaust itself, doesn't change. That's not what is happening there. What is happening is that the external pressure is being lowered and lowered, and that means that the plume basically has enough force to push outside more and more as the rocket goes further up. So that's the effect that you see there.
Let's have a look through here. Again, if you have any questions, tag us in chat. And Bill P, actually, this is a good question. Speaking of storms, is everyone prepared and okay with the weather rolling in at Starbase? Well, most of the storm has passed now at Starbase. We did a lot of preparations. You may have seen we had some different camera angles on Starbase Live. Sean was getting ready, so thanks for asking. Everyone's okay. Everything is okay. The storm was much less severe than it could have been, thankfully, at Starbase in particular. So, but thanks for keeping an eye out. We were, as I said in Starbase Update earlier, we were certainly keeping an eye on all of the storm things happening. This is kind of that, it's hurricane season. There's nowhere other way of saying it. So big storms like to happen.
So we have another
we're tracking
update.
At the Cape is much smaller. And Adrian, I've just seen out of the corner of my eye what you are about to say.
So we are no longer in a phase 1 lightning warning. We are now at a phase 2, which is the actual warning, which means people are supposed to go inside and everything. So that's probably the reason for this delay, because SpaceX will not launch in a phase 2 lightning warning. So that's probably the reason they're pushing. They hope this clears. But right now, it seems the Cape is entering a phase 2 lightning warning, which means no launch as of now. We'll see how long this goes.
One of those people in the field is D Wise, who has just managed to, I don't know, run. I don't know if you ran, but has gotten back into their car. I don't know if they're on and available to talk yet. We'll find out. But we need to stay safe out in the field, especially when these lightning warnings come in. D, are you there?
I am here. I got back in my car. I tried to get my cam online and then got the word we have to go to our cars. So I don't think my camera is quite sending yet, but I am in my car waiting for the weather to clear so we can go back outside.
There we
And
go.
this is
And
one of those.
SpaceX just confirmed 6 p.m. for the new T0, by the way.
Okay. So SpaceX publicly confirming that number that we've had for a few minutes already, thanks to our team out in the field. So this could be one of the things that's a little bit deceiving, D, because on Max's camera right now, of course, Max has got back in his car as well, we can see blue skies behind Falcon 9. It looks pretty, but you have long lenses on these cameras which are pointing out to sea, which can be a bit deceiving because the weather looks okay on the camera, but of course, the lens means that it's looking in the opposite direction to the storm, right?
Yeah, so my car is facing the opposite direction of the cameras, and so I am looking at a whole shelf of clouds moving quite quickly in our direction, and we've been hearing distant thunder for a while now, and it's just been getting closer.
We have 2 phase 2 lightning warnings now. We have Cape Central and Port Area now in phase 2 lightning, which are red criteria on the board, which right now means the board is red.
So that essentially means, D, if I'm getting this right, it just means you should get inside right now because it would be unsafe to be outside. Is that the official definition?
Yeah, pretty much. We're just not allowed to continue outdoor operations. We have to be inside, whether it's a building or a vehicle. And the phase 1 is basically just to be prepared to stop and get inside. And the phase 2 is when you actually have to get inside.
Sounds good. Well, the storm doesn't sound good. Your information sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we are now in this weird situation where the storm has moved very slowly before this, and we kind of now want it to move faster. We are now in a situation where it's like, please don't hang around here. So we'll see how this develops.
Yeah, if I'm looking at the radar right, it kind of looks like the storm is now heading to the west and to the north at the same time. Sorry, to the east and north at the same time. It's very confusing. I mean, we'll figure out what happens when it actually happens because these things sometimes can be a little bit tricky to forecast. But the forecast from yesterday did say only a 30% chance of going. But as I keep saying, we will remain optimistic and fingers crossed we will see something happen today at some point. For this specific T0, we do have 44.5 minutes to go. And of course, this window extends all the way until 5:20. Sorry, it's a 4-hour window that opened at 5:20, which means it'll close at 9:20 local time in the evening. And that's Fleet Cam on the right. That's the storm we're talking about. You can see how the wonderful blue skies on the left are a little bit more grey on the right. This is Fleet Cam at Port Canaveral, which is further south than Slick 40. But you can now see when we're talking about a storm approaching from the south, that's the storm we're talking about.
Yep, that doesn't, you don't want to launch a rocket into that.
No, I don't want to sit under that, let alone launch a rocket into that. Joe, thank you very much. You've gifted 20 Red Team memberships, which is 20 people that now have access in the YouTube channel page to photos from Starbase and the Cape and the little behind-the-scenes videos we do every now and then as well. So thank you very much for that. And of course, if you received one of them, thank them in chat. Just, it's a nice thing to do. Means they are supporting NSF, and everyone who might not necessarily be able to afford a membership now gets access to the membership program for free, completely for free, for a month. So you're very welcome. James Atkinson asking, is there a phase 3 for Lightning, as in it's active? D, is there a phase 3, or does it just go up to phase 2?
It's just the 2-phase system, and it doesn't matter how bad the phase 2 is. Once it's a phase 2, you have to be inside. There are, of course, also con statuses for specifically hurricanes when operations will be bad for several days. It takes actual prep work to prepare facilities depending on how bad the wind would be and how long it might take people to return to work. But that's a different system unrelated to strictly the lightning-based phase 1, phase 2.
Still monitoring that storm on the right. It's
Yep.
it's not a bad storm, right? Let's not hype this up. It's a Floridian storm, your average summer storm. It's just, skies are angry today. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's just another day in Florida in the afternoon, which means a thunderstorm.
I'm trying to look at the windsock there on next to the. I don't know if it's actually next to the pad or whereabouts it is, because big lens means frame compression, but it's the wind levels at the press site at least kind of look similar to what they were before. D, how were the winds kind of when you were setting up at the press site? Were they bad? Would you say it's like breezy?
Honestly, even right now, the winds are pretty still. They're picking up a touch, but it's been pretty still air as we were setting up. Of course, Max and I were running around like crazy, trying to get our feeds up as quickly as possible. But as I say that, it looks like just now the winds are starting to pick up a bit, heading towards the west.
You could see that windsock hit there. It's starting to pitch up ever so slightly as the wind speed increases.
Yeah, and of course
okay.
the question also is, so they have until 5:20, right? But wait, no, they have until
No.
what?
9. It would be 9:20 local time.
Yes,
the
sorry.
window opened at 5:20.
Sorry, my bad. So that means they need to this phase 2 lightning probably needs to clear until 4:45, something in there, because there's a good chance that they don't even fuel the rocket until a phase 2 lightning warning, because well, it's a huge amount of electricity, and it's kind of, you don't want to put a lot of explosive stuff into a very high object while a phase 2 lightning warning is active. So it needs to clear at some point, not before the end of the window, but probably a bit before the end of the window.
Yeah, and I have high suspicions they will not fuel under a phase 2, which if the propellant, the go for prop load from the launch director is meant to be announced in just under 2 minutes, I have a feeling that as long as this phase 2 lightning warning remains, they will not give that go for propellant load, because they don't want to load propellant during a phase 2 lightning warning. So it may be a case of where when that phase 2 warning drops, they'll then go, okay, we can get fueling now, and then they'll adjust the T0 for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like gradual pushes, or if they'll go for the end. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just find out. That's what you got to stay tuned for.
Yep.
You'll find out. So point
We should also mention there's other people right now watching a launch from our team, with which are right now Kevin and Alex apparently in their car because they are fleeing from the storm. So we wish you, of course, best of luck that you can see a launch today. Yeah, we'll see what happens here and if they can witness a launch today. But I want to mention that besides our, I would say, more usual Cape team, we also have other people around today watching a launch.
Yeah. We send them on holiday and they get to do more work for us. I think that's a win-win scenario there. Just under 40 minutes, approaching that T-minus 38-minute mark, where that go for prop load should be announced.
I feel very confident that they, like, I know this is the huge commentator jinx right now, but I feel very confident this will poll no-go right now.
I have a feeling I might agree with your sentiment there, Adrian.
Yeah, like, they will not... I would be shocked if they fuel under a phase 2 lightning warning. Ha! See what I did there?
I was going to ignore it. Unfortunately, though, you've now made me acknowledge that incredible pun.
Thank you.
And
sorry, I would be proud.
I'll let you be proud of that one. Something else I think I might just bring up, whilst we have what we believe may be a little bit of a wait for a launch to take place under this phase 2 lightning warning, I will just mention it is today the 13th anniversary of STS-135, famously the last flight of the shuttle, last space flight of the shuttle. I don't know if you can count flights on back of the 747 as a flight. Anyway, pedantic's over. STS-135 launched 13 years ago today from just a little bit over on the Kennedy Space Center side of the peninsula. But yeah, big launch. I've mentioned the shuttle. Hopefully Chris B is happy now. And Adrian, give us the news. The clock's changed again.
Yep, we have another delay of 30 minutes to 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, we know why. It's probably the lightning. So yeah, they are delaying a bit more.
So that's now just over an hour to go. I'll keep going anyway. I need to make Chris B happy, so let's talk about the shuttle some more. So yeah, 13 years. Adrian, can you believe it's been 13 years since the last flight of the shuttle?
It's crazy, right? In a weird way, it feels both ages ago, but also it's kind of crazy that it's just 13 years ago that you saw a shuttle fly, right? So much has changed in spaceflight since then, because, well, Falcon 9 and everything, right? There's a lot of things going on since then, but it's kind of crazy that we have this huge transition in the space sector just in basically 13 years. So yeah, absolutely crazy. And I wish I was a space enthusiast when the shuttle still flew. I will admit I wasn't. I didn't know basically that, I don't know, a space program existed 13 years ago. So I didn't watch the last launch, and I can fully say I regret that.
I think the view from the camera here is starting to get a little bit darker, unless I'm just misremembering, but it does appear to be getting a little bit more murky over the pad. And as we were saying earlier, you know, we could see our fleet cam and from our Cape cams, you know, big storm to the south of here. There you go. That's it rolling over the Atlantic Ocean right now, over the beach there, just south of the Space Force base at Cape Canaveral. So that's the big storm we're looking out for right now. A huge cloud, very dark, very grey, very murky, very angry cloud rolling over the Cape right now.
Yep, that's the question is how fast it rolls.
Hopefully it speeds up now. we wanted it to move very slowly at the start of the window, and now we want it to move very quickly so we can get it out of the way and then get launching.
Yep, absolutely. It's now the opposite. Now we want please go on, Cloud.
Feel free to make haste. Oh.
Yep, and SpaceX confirming now targeting 6:30 p.m. ET for liftoff due to weather.
There we go. So I mean, I'm not going to be shocked by that because I think it's pretty obvious, but on more positive news, looking at fleet cam now, is it just me or does that look like the tail end of that big angry cloud? I can see the sunlight kind of beaming through the end there and lighter skies behind it.
Yeah, I mean, they have like, if they go for this T0, like they still have over 2 hours in that window. So this ain't over yet. There's so much wiggle room today. There's so much potential in this huge window. So we will see what they go for. And of course, with Falcon 9's special situation going for fueling, because once they go for fueling, they are locked into a T0. They are probably very careful in a launch like this, where they have a huge window, to go into fueling, because that could lock them out for a better time later into the window. So, yeah.
And I'll just correct my statement there. Apparently the sunlight isn't beaming through the clouds. Apparently that's just more rain. So my optimism has been crushed.
That means they might go for like this tiny gap, but then again, see if they make it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, from the point they say, let's go for propellant load, that's going to be 38 minutes before they can launch. And they can't, Falcon 9 is a load and go vehicle. It does not have any holding capabilities once we've passed the start of fueling for that vehicle. So SpaceX can't get to T0 and be like, hang on, The the weather is red right now, but in 2 minutes' time, it's going to be green. It's going to be perfect. We can launch perfectly. They can't hold. They'll have to stand down for the day because the propellant would boil off. Falcon 9 would lose performance. They can't do the mission as intended. So that's kind of a predicament that we're in here right now.
Yep.
Keith is asking, will the 4 towers protect the rocket from lightning? Adrian, probably
Yes.
a important topic for today, just in case.
I want to say, because I learned that at some point also, the 4 towers will not protect the rocket from lightning. It's the cables between the 4 towers. That's a thing that was, I think, explained to us at some point. It's not the 4 towers itself around the pad that is actually deflecting the lightning. There are cables between them where the lightning would strike. And yes, of course, the rocket is protected. There's very high chance that protection system would work and they wouldn't have a lightning strike the rocket. But for the small chance that you still have a lot of electricity, a lot of static in the air, right? You have a chance of it going somewhere where you don't want it. And do you want to risk your rocket and your launch pad and your payload and just try to go for it? Probably no. That's why they don't want to fuel during a phase 2. So yeah, that's the situation with that lightning, and it's quite an interesting with these 4 towers.
And I can see blue skies peeking in. There's a little gap in the top right. Blue skies. Be optimistic, everybody. It might happen. Might just happen. But that cloud does still look very angry. Because obviously this is.
You could put like a bad smiley on it, it's very angry, like with some eyebrows.
Yeah. I'll just provide a little bit of context quickly. So this is from FleetCam, which is at Port Canaveral, which for those of you who don't know, this is to the south, and we're currently looking northwest-ish from that position. So that cloud, we're kind of seeing the back end of the storm, and from this perspective, it's moving to the right. The storm is moving northeast-ish. So that's the reason why we can see the tail end of the cloud here. However, the main... I'm not a meteorologist. The main bit of the storm is now moving up and encroaching on Cape Canaveral itself. So that's why that phase 2 warning has been put into place, and why Dee and Max have had to get back in their cars. And there's a cruise ship leaving Port Canaveral right now on one of our Cape cams, sailing into the storm. Hopefully they'll see bluer skies and nicer weather conditions at their destination.
That looks very, they look very angry. These clouds look incredibly angry.
Yeah. It might be obvious, but I'm not from the United States. I'm not from Florida. I've never lived there. These storms just seem kind of foreign to me. I know. But this is just daily Floridian life, That's all it is. That's how it goes.
Yeah, the storms they get sometimes, it's crazy. We're just a bit of wind here.
I still wouldn't want to be on that cruise ship.
Yes, I would love that, even with the storm. I mean, you can just go below deck, right?
We still have those phase 2 warnings in Cape Central and the port area, for those of you just joining us. So that's what we're waiting for.
And everything else in phase 1.
Yep.
It's everything is either phase 1 or phase 2. So yeah, not looking super nice, I have to say. We'll see how it develops, but right now it's a bit... I think you can call this iffy.
It's certainly suboptimal conditions.
Yes.
So we're just going to sit here and wait. That's essentially the name of the game now. We're going to wait. We're going to watch this storm. We're just going to keep waiting. It might not be the most thrilling content you've ever seen. Might not be the most exciting content you've ever seen. But sometimes in aerospace, that's just the name of the game. You just got to sit on your bum, be patient, wait, and then hopefully at the end of the day we'll get a wonderful launch of a Falcon 9. Or maybe they'll try again some other time. That unintentionally rhymed. 3 times. 4 times. Oh, I'm in a loop. I'm in a cycle. Help. So we're going to keep going, and hopefully this storm clears out ever so quickly. It's now kind of... It is touching Cape Canaveral now, unfortunately.
It's
But
moving
hopefully it
so
speeds
slow,
up.
though. I'm looking
If
at
the
like
wind speeds up, the storm will speed up, Adrian. Come on, give it some passion, give it some energy, give it encouragement to move on.
You know what's the problem though? The wind is speeding up inside of the storm, but we need like a push wind that pushes the storm out. But it looks like the wind is just increasing because the storm is now there, but it's not really moving faster. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hopefully, I don't know if this will cheer me up, but hopefully, chat, this will cheer you up. Someone, as Adrian alluded to earlier, who is not usually watching from the Cape, is watching from the Cape today. I think he's about to talk to us. Are you there? Special guest?
I'm supposedly here, yes. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you.
Hello, Alex.
Hello. From the field, I guess. Out here, this is the feed. Hang on.
We can see.
There's supposedly...
Oh.
There we go. You can see me now. Oh, my Lord. But yeah, we're here from Cars Park, and we're essentially trying to dodge the weather because it was sunny when we came here, and suddenly it turned all black, and like there's a big cloud above of us. So the weather is not looking good right now. Hopefully, this whole patch of rain goes away, and we can get that launch out of the way really soon. But you can see there's not. Right now, in this moment, is not really that good. So hopefully, temporary. That's a 4-hour launch window, though, right? So we have plenty of time to get off the ground.
Do you enjoy some Phase 2 lightning, Alex? Do you think Falcon 9 can fuel in Phase 2 lightning? No, right?
No, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way they will do that. Woo! It's starting to rain even faster. Hang on.
Do they get storms in Spain? Every time I've been to Spain, it's always been sunny weather. So I don't know if Alex has ever seen rain before. This
You always go to the very touristic places and to the good weather places because you're a British guy. You said before.
Everything.
So this is for the audience. I'm gonna say this. He said, "Look at those blue skies," and I literally said in the back channel, only a British guy will say, "Those are blue skies."
Everything is good weather if you're British.
Exactly. Everything is
there's
good
a gap
weather.
in the clouds. That's from Port Canaveral. There's a gap in the clouds. Look at that. Beautiful weather. Let's go.
It's just a little hole, right? So just put the Falcon 9 through that and launch it. But no, yeah, it's all good right now. It's the band of bad weather is currently going above of us, and it's about to hit the launch pad soon. So I'm mostly sure that our folks out there at the 45th are going to be not enjoying this weather.
Yeah, it's let's just say we see some impacts of the storm now on our pad camera. I think it's starting a bit. It's looking no longer that nice with the gray clouds behind it and with some wind hitting it.
Yeah.
And speaking of nice, fingers crossed, we should be seeing the launch of SpaceX's 69th mission of the year in just over 53 minutes' time.
Nice.
Hopefully. Now, this is camera on the right is one of our bots at the Kennedy Space Center press site. So this is the NASA side of the base. So this is further north than Slick 40, but it's looking a bit south now, and you can see kind of the wispy ends of that storm and the rain beneath it. So that's why we're showing you the multiple different perspectives, from looking to the west from the port, looking to the east from the beach, and then looking to the south from the north. So you can kind of see the clouds moving. I mean, they look to be moving relatively quickly there, but those are the little wispy clouds. Well, I want the big cloud to move. Why can the big cloud not move? I mean, weather just is not on our side today, as it stands in the opening portion of this 4-hour launch window, unfortunately. But we are waiting. Stay optimistic.
Yeah, I think...
Stay happy. Hopefully it'll launch soon.
Yeah, I think it's this overall situation that, I mean, what did we expect, right? We went into this stream with a 30% go for weather. So, I mean, that's the situation you get when you have a 30% go for weather. There will be potentially delays if they can. They will try to make it as optimal as they can, but it's just that's the situation, and weather is the one thing SpaceX really can't control.
Mm-hmm. I am no official forecaster here. However, from the direction of the storm that we've seen on the cameras and from looking at the radar, it looks like the storm might be making a turn to the right. Apparently, it kind of... Is this just me, or does it look like it's kind of... It was going northeast at first, but it's kind of turned to the right a bit, and it's now drifting east over the ocean. It might just miss Cape Canaveral, but of course minute movements like that are impossible to forecast with incredible accuracy, so you have to play it safe, you have to put in these lightning warnings, you have to be careful, but it does look it's kind of moving away from the Cape now, ever so slightly.
And also it's increasing apparently a bit in size. I've seen some talks about that, especially on X, and some people looking looking at like different factors here, and apparently the cell is building up a bit. So it looks like this is not a decreasing situation with the storm right now. It's more a bit of an increasing situation. So that also is a factor here.
I am just kind of staring at the radar at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you can see it's changing, and it's not really decreasing. It's not like raining out. So we will have to see if there's building more cells behind it, and of course that could always be problematic if there's more cells building or more cells merging. So yeah, weather is like this is today. Today we are more about weather. That's your NSF weather channel.
Maybe that's our next 24/7 stream, NSF Weather Live. Chat, would you want to see that? Do you want to see me and Adrian doing the weather for 24 hours a day for all the launch sites in the world? Is that what you want to see, chat?
Like an NSF 24, like an NSF 24/7 rocket news channel.
Say again, Alex.
You're already the Mr. Map, so you can be the weather guy as well.
We were having a really nice bit there, Alex, and you just had to come in and ruin it.
It's like these 24/7 news channel, but just with rockets, and we have like rotating presenters that present everything related to any rocket at every point in time, 24/7. Mm-hmm. Oh God.
Yeah. Maybe we need some meteorological experts. Maybe we get some special guests on.
Has decreased in intensity.
Thank you, Alex. And Alex, would you like to say where you are watching from?
Yeah, it's getting better. Yeah, I'm watching from Car Sparks. I think it's like how much distance it is, Kevin? I'm with Kevin, by the way, just for the record. That's our producer.
Kevin is the producer.
He's looking it
like a sitcom.
He's looking it up. I mean, in the time that it's taken you to stall time in order to.
But he's looking up the wrong tab.
That actually doesn't surprise me. Just saying. How much time do we need to stall for you, Alex? Just asking for a friend. You're about 16 kilometers away. I just measured on Google Earth, Alex, so you're 16 kilometers away. There you go.
Okay, 16 kilometers, so about 10 miles then. 10.09. There you go. 10.09 miles, says Kevin. We're seeing now a rainbow, beautiful rainbow over the Port Canaveral.
We
it's
are
nice,
13.
It's getting a little bit clear.
We are 13 minutes away, by the way, from the next time they would about to poll go no go. And I think if we look at that weather board, not to make any bad news, but actually 10 minutes, and I feel like there's a good chance that we are still in a phase 2 lightning.
Yeah, there's the timeline on the left side of your screen there, everybody. 38 minutes is that time where the launch director verifies go for propellant load before we then actually get into the propellant load sequence to Falcon 9. And as you can see there, so the teal, the blue on the left, that's the site name. The middle column, that's all yellow, those are phase 1 warnings. The green on the right means no phase 2 warning is in effect, and the red on the right means that means there is a phase 2 warning in effect. And you can see Cape Central and the port area are currently both red. They're both in that phase 2 lightning warning, which means get inside, don't be outside, just in case, because there could be some lightning on the way. So those are the official warnings that we abide by from the officials out there at the Cape. And it's, of course, for everybody's safety, because lightning is dangerous. You know, these storms might be mesmerizing to watch, but you need to stay safe when you're within them, underneath them, outside of them, forecasting them, etc., etc.
By the way, I'm seeing people
And
complaining about a bit of the shaking on the camera. That's wind. We cannot control wind. Sorry. Go ahead, D.
Yeah, I was just about to say that you can probably tell that the wind has picked up quite a bit here at the our viewing location, and so the camera is shaking all over, and the bags that we have on our cameras to protect them are acting like wind sails and really increasing the effect of that wind shaking the cameras. They are on lockdown tripods, but there is not much we can do to help address that.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
we are currently live from Kevin's phone on the dashboard of the car they're sitting in at Cars Park, and you can see that lovely rainbow Alex was talking about at the port.
That's our view. Exactly. Yeah, that's our view from from here from Cars Park. You can see really beautiful rainbow. The rain, it's like just a couple of droplets. It's not really that big now. It seems like we may have hit like some kind of clear, but now it's all going in this direction. So I hope they have some nice coverings on all of those cameras and whatnot. I really hope this weather goes out quickly. You know, the quicker it goes by us, it means the quicker it goes by the pad, and the faster and sooner they can launch this thing.
Yeah, and I was mistaken. Kevin's actually gotten out of the car at this point, so you can see it's sunny now at Cars Park, and there's the rocket over there.
And that's
very
the
small
pad.
in the distance.
Yeah, this is what you said earlier in the live stream, that a lot of people are confused as to why some of the cameras move. It's because they are very zoomed in. This is not, it's far away, so you need to zoom in, and very small movements due to the wind can really shake the camera. So but there you can see our view from here of the launch site.
Alex, this is your first launch, right?
Well, if it indeed launches, yes, it will be my first launch.
We'll find out by the end of the window if it is or isn't.
Exactly.
You know the NSF rule of first launches, right? No phones at liftoff.
Oh yeah, I have that much. Yeah, I really know that. I only have the phone before the liftoff, of course, and I'll drop it when closer. But yeah, I was gonna say the other NSF rule for the launch is also, you, for example, watched the inaugural launch of a Starship, and that was your first launch. So, we all have very interesting experiences, I guess. Let's put it that way. In my case, it is a random Falcon 9 out here in the middle of this horrible weather.
To be fair, the weather also was challenging on the roof with Starship in a different way.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm refreshing the SpaceX website here very actively to see if they change their. I still cannot believe they are. So the funny thing is, they had a sentence in there that said the launch window opens at 5:20 p.m. and they just updated that text all the time. So it now says the launch window opens at 6:30 p.m., which is not correct anymore. But hey.
It's close enough. We'll take it. And or you can see the rainbow from one of our Cape cabs now as well. So beautiful. You can see the sun shining on the beach now. Weather does appear to be improving. However, we don't know if the weather will improve enough to be out of that phase 2 lightning warning at T-minus 38 minutes, which is in just over 4 minutes time. However, if we're still in that phase 2 warning and they cannot poll go for propellant load, then of course we'll have another slip in the countdown. But don't worry, we have got a 4-hour window which opened at 5:20. Current T0 is for 6:30, so they can push a few hours further into the window if required. Hopefully it isn't, but if it is, then everyone wants to be as safe as possible. I famously, launching into lightning isn't the most effective way of launching, and we have some.
Unless you're Soyuz.
Well, I mean, Soyuz will launch in a blizzard,
Yeah,
Soyuz is on another level.
Soyuz is it's not a tornado. I'm fine.
And you can see now on Fleet Cam, sunny skies, beautiful weather, Florida in the summer.
Beautiful weather.
It's sunny. That means the weather is beautiful, Adrian. That's how it works.
Yeah, it's sunny, but there's also this huge ominous cloud in the middle of the picture.
But it's going away, so it's beautiful.
Look,
it's got a rainbow and everything.
I mean, I cannot argue against that.
Thanks.
I lose that.
Just looking at the clock here, the window will close at 1:14 Universal Time tomorrow, technically. So for everyone asking, we do still have a long window left to go. We are now approximately 2.5 minutes to where that go-no-go would be declared, should I say, by the launch director? You know what I mean. So yeah, we're just today. This coverage has turned into a bit of unintentional marathon coverage for Türksat 6A on this Falcon 9 B1076. So we'll just have to wait for a little while. But we're just hanging out in chat again. Any questions? Tag us at NASA Spaceflight. You don't need to super chat. You don't need to give memberships or anything to send in a message. Literally anyone who has access to the chat can just type at NASA Spaceflight with their question, pulls into the queue here, and we'll get through answering them.
Are you excited for tomorrow, Ryan? Time to fill some time here. Our next generation launch.
Oh,
our next generation.
I forgot.
Yeah, that says it all. Thank you.
Europe's next generation launch vehicle, Ariane 6, is going to launch tomorrow. I mean, I think it's fair to say that you naturally would be more excited than I am, because I think your nation's flag is on the outside of the rocket and mine isn't. So I think that might explain it.
That's true. But you're still an ESA contributor, right? So
yeah, we give ESA some money. We just don't get our flag on the side of the rocket.
Yeah, my opinion is of this. First off, I love I don't want to trash any person working at the Ariane group. Like, they are probably very smart engineers working on this, and they made a rocket happen here, and that's always a cool thing. However, I still wish our ESA path would be a bit more bold and a bit like future looking, and I feel like this rocket is not that super exciting. It's in a way very ESA. It gets the job done.
And I will just say, everyone in chat, no, there isn't an earthquake, it's the wind. As we were explaining earlier, we are not next to the rocket. We have to zoom in quite a long way, then it gets windy, and when it's windy, it makes the shaking of the camera a little bit more exacerbated. So don't worry, it's just a bit windy, which is why we're in storm coverage mode right now. Beautiful rainbow from one of the Cape cams. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Ariane 6, It's not the rocket I'm most excited for, but it's a rocket nonetheless. I'm still excited for it.
I will watch the launch. I will be excited for it. I will be happy if it launch. But yeah, I mean, it's still a cool rocket. I got to see both parts of this rocket. That actually this rocket, like I saw the first and second stage, so that makes it kind of special to me. So yeah, I'm totally excited to see it launch, and again, wishing the Ariane group and ESA tomorrow best of luck.
Something I do just want to bring up with Ariane 6 though is, and this makes perfect sense, but Ariane 6, for those of you who don't know, it has a version with 2 solid rocket boosters and a version with 4 solid rocket boosters. Now, the 2 solid rocket booster version obviously only has SRBs on 2 of the 4 attachment areas, right? But the stickers on the outside only line up with the 4 SRB version of Ariane 6. When there's only 2 SRBs, like there will be on the launch tomorrow, the stickers are offset by 45 degrees to the SRBs. Now, I just want to get chat's opinion on this. It's kind of messing with my brain a little bit, and I don't like it. Why couldn't they offset the stickers by 45 degrees so that they would be perpendicular to the SRBs?
Yes, I agree. I hate when stickers are not symmetric on rockets. It's absolutely a secondary thing, but I will complain about it.
They're stickers at the end of the day. Like, maybe they're a bit more. Maybe they're aerospace grade stickers. I'm not a professional, but it just seems. Why couldn't they just move the stickers?
Hey Carson, want to
Stick them
get
somewhere
ready
else.
for update this clock in the top left to 7 p.m. Eastern?
Oh, how wonderful.
Hey everybody, do you like us talking about weather? Because you just got an extension of this. It's
And the clock resets
right.
to 1 hour, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And I believe this may be a recurring feature of today's live stream. It just means we can do 30 more minutes of sticker chat.
Absolutely. This is the Ryan and Adrian podcast now. Welcome to today's show.
Hey, I want to talk about stickers.
There we go. D, what's your opinion on asymmetric stickers on rockets?
You know, we had a very special NASA meatball on one of the crew missions. And so I feel like asymmetric stickers might be a unique and worthwhile look occasionally.
Interesting opinion. I will accept it.
You daren't say wrong.
I mean, there can be some, like, there's a good way of asymmetric. Like, I don't think Ariane is having the good way of that, but there are. So my personal biggest rocket problem ever with asymmetric things on a rocket is Atlas in general, because the SRBs are never symmetric. The SRBs in every single configuration are kinda off, and it's weirding me off.
I don't mind that as much, but the thing with the Ariane 6 is that they've chosen like a plane for those SRBs to attach to with the 2 SRB configuration, and decided to stick the stickers intentionally at an offset to that plane. Atlas makes sense because there's physical hardware in the way for those SRBs, and like, yeah, sometimes it might make sense. You only need one SRB to give you a little bit of a kick off the pad. And here we go, Carson's bringing up the photo now. The SRBs are 45 degrees offset to the stickers.
Okay, I don't like that, really. What's your opinion on this? Do you think this is a good way of asymmetric stickers?
Move them. Just stick them in a different. They're stickers. Like I will begin this statement by saying I am not an aerospace engineer. I am not an expert on applying stickers to rockets. However, these are not structurally integral parts of the vehicle. Why could you not just offset the stickers by 45 degrees?
Yeah, I would definitely prefer a 45-degree offset on those stickers. But they aren't awful, I will say. And from like just thinking from personal experience setting remote cameras and whatnot, sometimes the best angle of the rocket is like offset 45 degrees or so, or offset just a little bit from the flame trench so you can get the exhaust coming towards the camera. And so being able to shoot that with a head-on view of stickers could be a nice change.
I think it's the best angle, for example, for Starship. Starship, I think the best angle is where you get some heat shield, some of the silver, and also some sort of flap. It's like this 45-degree offset where it has everything. That's, I think, the best Starship angle for launching.
I agree. It gives off that kind of. It gives off the silhouette of what Starship looks like with the flaps and just. It's
Yep.
just the right angle. It's ironically not a right angle, but it is the right angle. And it looks like we've got some rain now falling on our Cape cams once again. So maybe the rain is back.
Yay, rain. Somehow the
main-
rain returned.
The main part of the storm does appear to have moved entirely or nearly entirely offshore at this point. But the rain has returned to the lens of Cape. I believe this is Cape 02, one of our Cape cams here. So yeah, and you can see it's gotten gloomy over the VAB. But the rainbow is getting stronger, which does make sense.
And
If it's
SpaceX
raining again.
update. What we already know, liftoff of the Türksat 6A mission is now targeted for no earlier than 7 p.m. Eastern due to unfavorable weather conditions.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. Good one.
Oh, and this is the view. This is Florida weather. This is the view from the Kennedy Space Center, looking to the east, and it's beautiful blue sky, puffy clouds, wonderful sunlit 39A with the strongback there, and a crane. What are they doing there? But just a few miles down the road, torrential downpour.
That's a full rainbow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I like this.
Well, would you prefer the rainbow or the rocket launching like 2 hours ago?
Yeah, that's true. Hey, we are once again under 1 hour. Isn't that great?
We've done it a few times already today. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the last, and I also wouldn't be surprised if it isn't the last. So we'll just have to wait and see. I'm just trying to build up a queue of questions here that we can rattle through and do a question segment. I feel like the sticker chat portion of the stream has come to its natural end, ladies and gentlemen. So hopefully you enjoyed the NSF sticker podcast. But we're still waiting here for this storm to pass.
We should rename this stream at some point. It's like SpaceX Falcon 9 launches Türksat 6A. Well, actually, it's just Stormwatch. And we have even more reds.
So we now have 5 areas in Phase 2 lightning warning. I'll say it again. Those blue areas on the left, that's the name of the locations. The yellows in the middle, that's lightning watch Phase 1. That means be ready to go into Phase 2. And then the areas which are red on the right, those are the areas which are in Phase 2. The green ones aren't, as the KSC Weather Channel changes to some other data and information, which I'm sure meteorologists understand. But look at that. The rainbow, I believe, is concluding on the beach there. So I think that means there is immeasurable wealth at the end of the rainbow there, and there are some people walking towards it. So congratulations.
Yeah, you can see them in the bottom left there, going to the end of the rainbow to collect that wealth.
Is that? I'm trying to figure out. Is that like a sailboat in the sea?
I think
It's
that's
my preview is very small.
I think it's like what's the floaty things again that you do in
Buoy.
Thank you. Buoy.
And even though there's a rainbow here from the Cape, Alex, how's weather holding up at Cars Park, which is, let me just remind you, approximately 11 kilometres, sorry, not 11 kilometres, 10 miles, 16 kilometres from the pad.
It's getting better now. There's some weather to the south still. We can see the amazing rainbow from out here. To the west, it's actually a lot better. Like right now, the sun is really, really shining through a very big blue sky to the west. But unfortunately, the bad weather is right where the rocket should be going, which is to the east for today. So, yeah, kind of hoping that all of this weather kind of goes in the right direction, which is not towards the rocket.
I hope that as well. Please clear weather. I do want to I feel like at this at this point it's kind of the point where I want this to launch because we have covered this so much. Also, I want to point out for the back channel here, Boy is actually Boje in German. So I don't know why I forgot that word.
You're just creating excuses, Adrian.
No, it's not even that far away. I just forgot it. My brain stopped working.
Is this Roseanne? Sorry for pronouncing that. Probably butchering that. Thank you very much for the $20 super chat. Philone, thank you for the super chat there as well. No message, but thank you very much for the support. Double, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. And MDC, thanks for becoming a PadRat member as well. Beautiful rainbow on the left there.
Absolutely. It looks like maybe I'm interpreting things, but the cell is getting a bit weaker.
I mean, the redness, there's no pinkness anymore, and the redness is kind of dissipated.
It's like it's less red. It's more yellow. That's good. That's how I view weather map.
And you can see the bushes pushing a little bit more breezy, maybe. D, how's the breeze?
Yeah, the breeze is coming and going. It'll be still for a couple seconds, then the wind will pick back up again. So not really much we can do with our cameras, unfortunately, because of course we are still stuck in our cars. But like right at this moment, the wind is almost perfectly still, but I expect in the next 30 seconds it'll pick back up again, just as bad as it was before.
And by the way, I'm seeing comments about they should have started earlier with the fueling and stuff. Even if they started fueling at the beginning of the window, they would have run into a lightning warning. So
yeah,
they made the right call for now. So far, this rocket could have not launched today.
Yeah, and it's really easy to look back on these things with hindsight, but you've got to remember that at the point where they make these calls, they only have forecasting information. They don't know exactly what is going to happen. A forecast is a forecast. It's a prediction of what experts think might happen, and it's never going to be 100% accurate, 100% correct.
Yep. And just for everybody to know, so far this launch is still on for today. Just to point this out again, this is a 4-hour window. Right now, SpaceX is targeting 7 p.m. Eastern, but they have about 2 more hours in the window. And we just have, look at that, no longer 5 warnings. We are just down to 4 now.
Wonderful. Although the Kennedy Space Center still needs to activate their copy of Windows 10. So as long as that clock in the top left is ticking, that means we're still on for a launch today. If it stops ticking and displays a different message with an orange or a red background, that means something else. But for now, we are still counting down to a T0 of 7 o'clock dead on local time, which is in 52 minutes and 25 seconds time. And we can see the greyer skies, shall I say, behind Space Launch Complex 40. But the sun is now shining on the fairing, that brand new crew-access arm, and those 4 lightning protection towers, which luckily have not had to do their job today. And I'm being informed that I should also mention the big white radar balls on the left-hand side of the picture, which are for radar things. I don't... Adrian, do you know? D, do you know?
No, I don't. I have to. I have to pass here. I'm not a radar expert.
I am not either. But yeah, they're right in the foreground here, depending on where exactly you're set up along this road to shoot the launch.
It still looks so cool, by the way, with the crew access tower now on 40. Like,
Yeah.
it looks so
like a
much
proper launch
more.
pad.
Yeah, it's no longer just like a rocket standing here. Like, there's a... I don't know, it feels more complete to me now.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's been upgraded in class. It's moving up in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ignore what I just saw in the back channel and continue on with some questions.
But you may not ignore the other thing. I sent you a picture on the back channel. It's currently clear over the pad. The problem right now is not over the pad, but a bit downrange. There's a band of clouds, and there's still rain coming to the north as well. I can see lots of bands of clouds going up north. By the way, I also changed my microphone, so I hopefully sound much better than before.
You do sound a little bit more clear, Alex.
I'm just grabbing this question right off the chat because I think it's a good one. Are there any wind limitation on rockets like airplanes have? Tailwind, gust limit, etc. Yes. Rockets have a corridor in which they can operate in winds. And if winds at certain altitudes and certain levels, and gust, for example, gets too high, a rocket cannot launch. So yes, even Falcon 9 or any other rocket has a certain wind corridor they can operate in. And if the wind is too high, that also can scrap a launch. Especially, we have seen, for example, with Falcon 9, upper level winds can be a bit of fun from time to time. So yeah, it's a thing. Rockets can scrub because of wind as well, which is, by the way, apparently not a concern today.
I've lined up some questions here, so I'm going to go through them very quickly. Well, not very. I am accustomed to saying very quickly, but we have 49 minutes and 15 seconds to go. So we have a little bit of time here, just over 11 minutes until that go-no-go for prop load is supposed to be announced. Anyway, Dave Watkins, first of all, Adrian, when NSF stickers?
Working on it, no update.
Of a sticker thing.
Working on it, no update.
Okay. 42 Spacebar is asking, is Jack Beyer ever coming back? That's a question I've been asking myself recently as well. But don't worry, he went to New Zealand with Max to see the Rocket Lab launch, and then stayed in New Zealand for a little bit of a holiday. And he's back in the United States now, and he should be arriving at Starbase sometime this week, I think, maybe.
Yes.
Here comes Alex.
Yeah, because I've been with him. But yeah, he's doing great, I guess. He's back. He's back on the US.
He would be if we get Static Fire or whatever streams this week that are planned in these huge road closures in Boca, which is the usual 828. Jack would be on these. So yes, you're getting some Jack time in the future again.
Booster 4 is asking, what is the trajectory for this launch? And Adrian, as this is a geostationary transfer orbit mission, I believe it's going straight east.
Yep, it's due east, and it's going to GTO. Basically, the rocket will fly right to due east and then deploy the satellite to a geostationary transfer orbit, which means the apogee is basically almost somewhere in that geo orbit, while the perigee is the lowest point of the orbit is still lower, and the the satellite, actually, I should say, will then use onboard propulsion to raise itself higher to its final geo position. So that's what it will do.
We have Apogee MC asking which person on the NSF team exhaled into their mic to create the whoosh sound whenever the camera views are changing. I can confirm it wasn't anyone on the. Thanks for the demonstration, Carson. I can confirm it wasn't anyone on the NSF team. That was a. I think it was like a ghost effect, sound effect I got from the sound library we used, and I sped it up so it was a bit faster. So I forgot what it was actually called, but it isn't anyone on the NSF team wishing.
But we should do that.
That would be a fun way to add some unique character to the streams. Just make the sounds ourselves.
That would be so funny.
Okay. I'm gonna swiftly move on. However, Andre asking question from Europe: do we have any plans for Ariane? Unfortunately, we don't have anyone on the team who lives in French Guiana. And Adrian, I know you may have looked before. Travel there is a bit isolated.
Yeah, it's a bit isolated. It's also a bit iffy with launch windows and stuff. So we decided, don't this time against it. We'll see if there's maybe a launch in the future. We'll do that. Of course, we did, for example, do that with the James Webb Space Telescope, where we had people close there. Yeah, it's just not lining up for this one, but we'll see. There will also be, because I wrote that, there will be a launch overview article tomorrow coming up on the website. Just make sure to check nasaspaceflight.com tomorrow for that launch overview.
If it's still how it was when I looked, the only direct flights to, I think it's Cayenne, which is like the capital of French Guiana or something, are from France, like Paris. The only international flights. So, for our US team, even though they're based in the continent of America, they would have to fly to France proper and then fly back over the Atlantic to French Guiana. And that would still be like a huge transatlantic flight for any of the European team. And, for Ariane 6's launch date, if you haven't noticed, has been slipping ever so slightly for forever. So it's very difficult to kind of plan these things ahead, which means it makes them very expensive to go and cover. El Hutto, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, is asking, is Launch Complex 39A reconfigured for Falcon 9 after every Falcon Heavy flight? Yet, how does the process work and how long does it take? If only we had someone who knows a lot about Falcon 9
That'd be great.
in commentary right now. That would be oddly convenient.
Amazing, you could say.
Yeah.
I'm looking at his unmute icon if he unmutes.
Yeah. I'll give it a little bit more time.
Maybe he's not.
However, we are kind of venturing into the more awkward end of the waiting period now. So,
Alex?
Adrian, I think you might have to end up answering that one.
Okay. Yes, they reconfigure the pad and also to my knowledge, DTE. There is some reconfiguration to be done after every Falcon Heavy flight.
Yeah.
There he is. Let's go.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. I'm here with all the people as well, so I get distracted very easily. Yeah, so basically what they do, the mount where the rocket...
Alex, unfortunately, you're getting a little bit roboty, so I think your signal's a little bit spotty.
Because... Hang on.
I'm sure your answer was very thoughtful and full of
very
interesting
long
information, and very long, yes.
Sorry, I'm moving. I shouldn't do that. Am I better now?
Give it a go.
Yes.
Give it a go.
You know, it's my first time in the field, so you gotta give me time.
We gave you time. Now answer.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Sorry.
sorry.
I thought. There you go.
No, sorry, I have to interrupt
Update.
you. We have to
Yeah.
interrupt you. We have another delay. Everybody, are you ready for this clock at the top to go back to over 1 hour? There it is. We are now targeting 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for today's launch of the Türksat 6A mission. So, do you like more weather? You get more weather. Sorry, I had to bring up some excitement here. I'm going insane.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to suffer a little bit of more Florida weather, I guess.
So, Alex,
But yeah,
is 39A reconfigured
I-
for Falcon 9 after Falcon Heavy flies?
It kind of looks like it. I haven't had a chance to actually look at the views, but there you can see that Stromback, that mount, that's the reaction fixture. That's where the rocket is attached. That's where they have the hold down clamps, the quick disconnect umbilicals for the boosters. And as I was saying before, the whole internet went south. The thing is, when you have 3 cores, of course, you need the hold downs and the quick disconnects for those. But when you go to just the single ones, at 39A, you have four hold down clamps on every Falcon 9 booster. When you have to put those side boosters, you need to remove those clamps in order to be able to put the boosters. The side boosters will be where the Falcon 9 clamps are located. So those need to be put back on that mount, on that reaction fixture, in order to be able to put a Falcon 9 inside. And as you can see like there's the hold down clamps for Falcon Heavy around the perimeter there on that base, on that black base of the transporter reactor. But then there's another 2 in the middle, and those are the 2 that they are called the east-west hold down clamps. Those are for Falcon 9. So it's already configured for that. I don't think it's fully ready though. You can see there's some cranes and whatnot. There's still work being done, because that's not the only thing, of course. That's like just a little bit of all of the work that is actually being done to return this 39A pad to Falcon 9 operations. Let's see what kind of mission we'll see coming out here. Maybe there's going to be some, Starlink 10.5 or 9, whatever, right? But there's probably going to be some Falcon 9 here on the pad very soon at 39A.
Thanks for the answer, Alex. Musical Wolves, a very common name in the Super Chat queue with the $2. 1 hour is playing Groundhog's Day. I may be about to lose some nerd points or something here, but I don't know what you're talking about.
I think, yeah, I know the meme. I also I think somebody at the back channel will scream at us now because we both don't know the movie.
We are now probably uneducated, don't get the reference. We're probably bringing shame on NSF now, so I do apologise.
Yep. Yeah, it's happening. Yeah, yes, I see some caps now on the back channel. Yep, it's happening.
Moving swiftly on, Yeet is asking, do you think Slick 40 will launch Falcon Heavies in the future? That's a good question, but I have a feeling it's kind of Falcon 9, at least for the near term. It's Falcon 9 through and through. Would you say that also, Adrian? Because, I don't know, I have a feeling that once Starship is in is in a position we expect it to be in 20 years' time, Falcon Heavy won't really have a market anymore, and probably normal Falcon 9.
Yeah, I feel like with the crew now also being able to launch from 2 different pads, they kind of introduced enough redundancy into the system, and they no longer need like even another Falcon Heavy pad at the East Coast to wiggle around these as well. I feel like they now are able to really reconfigure 39A if they need to for Falcon Heavy, and even if there's a crew launch now overlapping with that, they can of course launch that from 40 instead of 39. So I do not see the need with compared to Falcon 9, relatively slow launch cadence of Falcon Heavy. for them to have 2 pads of it. I mean, what we are talking about, maximum 5-ish Falcon Heavies a year, and for Falcon 9 we are talking about what, 150. It's a bit of a different ballpark.
And am my eyes lying to me, or is the sky gotten a little bit grey now behind the Falcon 9? Or is that a good thing because it means the storm is now out to sea?
Yeah, I would say that's a good thing because that's the direction it would move, right? That's the way it would go.
There's really like very nice weather now. Here, like we have rains still to the south, but they're not moving. They're not going north. And so right now the pad is clear. There's blue skies, real blue skies, by the way, Ryan. Real blue skies above the pad.
Alex. Thanks for rubbing it in.
Yeah, there's really good skies above the pad. You know, if I were to guess, right now it's probably down to like maybe there's upper level winds or something like that, because there's no clouds in the path that I'm overlooking. Sort of like what could be the path. It's straight east again for those watching at home, and for those watching in the field like me. Straight east. Make sure to look that way. That's where the rocket is going to be heading to. But that's essentially sort of my report from the field of what I'm seeing is the weather above the pad and potentially downrange might be good, at least in terms of clouds. We never know about the winds, the upper level winds. Unfortunately, at NSF we don't have weather balloons yet.
You
So
never
we
know.
cannot know what exactly. We don't know yet what is sort of the condition up on at altitude, but hopefully it is much better, and they can go to that new T0 that we just heard a while ago.
I will say, looking at the forecast from yesterday, the winds were not a concern. So they have it listed as additional risk criteria for upper level wind shear, booster recovery weather, and solar activity. And all of those are low risk, which is as good as that gets. The concerns for violating weather constraints were the cumulus cloud rule, the anvil cloud rule, and the surface electric fields rule, which, of course, we have seen a lot of that with the lightning in the area as well as the dark clouds overhead. But that wind shear, at least yesterday, wasn't predicted to be one of the concerns.
Yeah, and I feel like they really want to launch this today, because if you look at tomorrow, it's not getting any better. Like, if you find some way to get this off the pad, that would be really nice, because tomorrow they're probably in for the same dance.
Yeah, tomorrow, if it were to have a 24-hour delay, it was the exact same concerns and the same low level on all the additional risk criteria. So we really aren't any better off looking at tomorrow.
And you can see there on that graphic on the right, there's some labels there that say complex 2016, 14, 13. It has 36 and 47 and 46. Those are all the paths are to the south, which is where they are the closest to the cell, and they are the closest to this very big cloud of rain and storms that is to the south of 40. But they are not right there at 40. And in fact, if you look at the graph, it kind of looks like there's no phase 2 on the pad, I believe. I'm trying to look on my screen, but that's what I can see here on that graph.
Alex, you're going a little bit roboty again. But what you were saying was correct.
Copy.
Look at that. I think that's max feed.
Yeah, so the color profile on the two cameras from Max's camera and D's camera are, ever so slightly different. So if the put my teeth back in. If the color changes if the color of the sky changes, like one looks a little bit more grey, one looks a little more blue. That's just what it is. It's like it's the different cameras having different ways that they pick up on the color. Look, there you go. The sky's blue on one and grey on another. So it's just the white balance of the cameras there.
Yeah, so I shoot my video in log, and so I have a separate device that's applying a lot to its image. And then, of course, when I edit for slow-mo replays or anything, I'll do a very quick grade on any of my footage. So perhaps I'll update the LUT on that device so we can get a slightly brighter image in the live feed.
I think you might just need a dark grey rainy day LUT that makes everything look sunny and bright and beautiful. Can you do that? Is that possible? Magic?
Well,
Is
it's
that-
not a quick change, but I can make a couple different options to drop in on the fly depending on how the weather looks.
Speaking of flies, by the way, are you and Max today more protected of pesky birds, especially mosquitoes?
Yeah, we
Birds,
do not.
bugs.
We don't have any bugs around us right now, thankfully. It's really mostly the concern for the evening and the night launches. That's when the mosquitoes really come out, especially at the 39 press site when the grass has not been cut recently. But not to jinx it, so knock on wood. But there hasn't been a single mosquito bite out here yet.
Thank God, because the other day you had a bit of fun, I heard. And with that,
Yeah,
we
that was
also
not fun.
we have some good news. Apparently, the phase 2 lightning warnings are starting to disappear in the area. So, with 1 hour to go, it looks like things are now trending in a positive direction on today's launch here.
Max and D are now allowed outside of their cars to be outside because the warnings have been cleared. So things are trending in the correct direction as we now approach 1 hour to go. And there you go, the board is green. All of them are green.
That's I think basically a first almost for day today. Like
Yeah.
we
still
finally have
some-
a full green.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some phase 1 warnings in place, but that's to be expected. Those are the be prepared for phase 2, not the kind of the top level warning. So phase 2 is the top level warning there, which means you have to get inside of a building or a vehicle or something along those lines.
Yeah, I'm using my commentator jinx here again, but I feel like with this board, we might, with 7:30 right now being the launch time, and with also some secondary cells somewhere in behind there, I wonder if they will go for this and just try. Because at some point, you have to, and it's not like they're not getting, like, the conditions might not get any better at some point. So I feel like there's a good chance that this might move into fueling.
And I was just about to say we're under 1 hour, but I'm yet to get my notification from Next Spaceflight, the app on my phone, and just as I was thinking that, it pinged my watch. So we have the, what is that, like the third or the fourth T-minus 1 hour to go notification?
I see on my phone 1 hour until the launch of Falcon 9 Block 5 from Cape Canaveral 4 times now.
It does get a little bit repetitive, but hey, at least it's keeping us, up to date
It's
and
factual.
informed. Yes.
It
is
always
accurate.
factual. Yeah.
It's just, with this game, you have to push it by 30 minutes every time. It does get a little bit annoying, but there's not much you can do about it. SpaceX wants to launch as early as they can, but they also don't want to set a new T0 every other minute. So I guess half an hour blocks, increments is probably the best way that they can do it without, setting a new time every 5 minutes. Let's have a look through here. Patty is asking, if this launch does not go ahead today, when is the next launch date? And Adrian, I believe they have an opportunity for tomorrow, but according to the 45th Weather Squadron, it's the same kind of conditions we're expecting.
Yes. It's basically the same kind of window. It's a 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time window for 4 hours with exactly the same weather. So if this doesn't launch today, we are kind of in for a bit of the same show.
Hopefully, if we have to do another show tomorrow, hopefully we'll have some more topics to discuss other than the sticker podcast. Thank
I
you
like
everyone
the
for
sticker
tuning into
podcast.
the sticker
Yeah,
podcast.
absolutely.
Let's have a look through here. Again, for those of you just joining us, I know we've been live for over an hour and a half at this point, but if you're just joining us and wondering why on earth the rocket is still there and the clock still says T-minus 1 hour, we've been delayed a couple times. We've been waiting for a storm to roll through. It hasn't done a direct hit, to say, on the pad, but it started off to the southwest, kind of between Coco and Melbourne. It was then drifting up to the northeast, looking like it was going to hit Cape Canaveral, and then it kind of turned to the right ever so slightly and started moving kind of due east in that sort of direction. It is now over the Atlantic Ocean. It has now dissipated quite considerably. It's no longer really high intensity. Basically, it's gone from pink to red to orange, which is the colour it is now over the Atlantic Ocean, so it's no longer a concern for not only the rocket but also all of the crews working out at Patrick Space Force Base and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and Kennedy Space Centre, and of course our field teams out there broadcasting this launch for us. So that's what we've been keeping an eye on. Things are now green for a launch in 56.5-ish minutes time. That would be half past the hour, 7:30 in the evening local time, Eastern time. That will be 23:30 UTC. And that's the timeline on the left. T-minus 38 minutes is when the launch director verifies go for propellant load. And we've approached that clock point many times already today. We're yet to actually surpass it. Fingers crossed, this time around we will, with a go for prop load from the launch director. The area has been in a phase 2 lightning warning, which means everyone has to be inside. You have to be in a building, in a car, in a vehicle, just in case, and SpaceX will not load propellant into the vehicle with a phase 2 lightning warning in effect. So that's what we've been waiting for. That has now been cleared. So we are now, well, things are looking good. I don't want to do a commentator curse and jinx it, but things are looking a little bit
I
better.
already did that.
I'll blame you then.
Yeah, absolutely. If this now doesn't go, I accept the blame. That was totally on me then.
Let's have a look through here. First of all, Booster 1058, thank you very much for the €2 super chat. That is greatly appreciated, as always. And Nicholas is asking, how do we get the launch site weather showing the phase 2 lightning information? Well, we are, NSF is accredited media at the Cape, well, both sides of the Cape. So, you know, we're an actual media organisation that we lug our own people, gear and cameras to the launches. We don't just restream SpaceX or whatever. We actually, put in the effort to do our own broadcasts. So we are accredited media. So we get that directly from the Kennedy Space Center, and we're very grateful for that. It gives us access to see how things currently are. And yeah, that's everything's green. Breeze appears to have kind of settled down. I'm looking on the cameras. The windstock is a bit more droopy, for a lack of a better term. The bushes are a bit more steady. The camera itself is more steady. So I assume you'll be feeling a similar reduction in wind speed.
Absolutely. The air is a lot more still out here. We've gotten the bags off the cameras, and it's a very gentle breeze now, which is a bit nice to have because it is still very hot now that the sun is not blocked out by large clouds.
And Kevin in the back channel is reporting that mosquitoes are coming out at Cars Park. SpaceX needs to launch. So Kevin, who is very much used to the interior of his studio, is now facing the full force of Florida, which I am going to say might be slightly amusing.
I would just tell
Okay,
Kevin
as someone
to
that
make
is actually
sure-
next to Kevin here. Oh, sorry, D, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you two to make sure that the mosquitoes stayed over there away from us here by the rocket, please, and thank you.
Yeah, so I'm actually here next to Kevin. I think he's being a little bit like he's exaggerating things. It's not really that bad here.
Kevin,
dramatic, yeah, dramatic. No, right? But yeah, it's getting clear, and it's actually a lot better now. It's even cooler as well. The wind is now cold, which is good. But yeah, and like the bugs are already starting to come up, but very slowly, very nice. It's not really as bad as it was for for D the other day, I guess.
No, they were not great the other day, but I'm having a great time this evening as the sun sets. We're getting even more beautiful light with every passing minute, and not a single mosquito in sight out here.
Yeah, I can say I looked at the aftermath of that, and it was not good. So I really, we're still in the countdown, right? We're still waiting for this launch to happen. It kind of looks like the weather is good for that. I gotta say, props to you guys because you were out there at 4 a.m. for a Starlink launch, getting beaten and everything. It was, yeah, it's always amazing that you guys do that.
Thank you. It's always great to be out covering these launches, no matter what time of the day or no matter how many mosquitoes there may be. It's always worth it once you see the moment of liftoff and you know that the rocket is going to carry those satellites into space.
Adrian, I just want to say you've done a fantastic job here with the scheduling because you've got two folks on from the field and they're just going to keep talking to each other all day. You can just sit here, sit back, relax. It's brilliant.
Absolutely, it's I enjoyed this as well. It gave me a good time for refreshing everything and basically getting like new information in. But the new information is there is no new information right now. So
That's
far
good.
we have
That's
not
good for now.
Yeah, the good thing, we don't want new information. We want them to go on, and we want to hear, like, usually they post on X around 35-ish minutes, sometimes, we'll see, that they are in propellant loading, and we hope to reach that point at some point today, and also shortly after that, we usually see some frost on Falcon 9. So that's hopefully happening here. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this situation evolves. But right now, it looks like the weather is finally trending green, and we might just see a Falcon 9 launching Türksat 6A today.
Yeah. So from this perspective, we have the strong back sort of blocking the view of the base of the rocket. So it'll be a little bit more difficult to see that frost than especially like a 39A launch or anything like that. But it should be a great view once we see liftoff. And I will say, you'd think after 6 hours in a car with Alex, we'd have run out of things to talk about, but somehow we have not.
Alex can talk for a very long time.
I mean,
it's probably hard to run out of things to talk about.
We at some point covered cryo tests in Boca for 5 hours. I think we are fine.
And Alex, whilst we've got you, Leo is asking, is this your first in-person launch?
Oh yeah, in-person launch, yes, the first.
And hopefully the weather is looking better from the, well, maybe response we got earlier.
When you said saying 6 hours, that's only one Alex answer.
I'm hoping once we get towards the propellant loading. I'm hoping once we get to the propellant loading, perhaps in that update where they say go for fueling, we'll get an updated probability of violation that'll look a bit better than the 30% chance that we got yesterday, because we haven't gotten any updates officially since that point.
Yeah, that forecast we are mentioning from the 45th Weather Squadron, it's an L-1 forecast, which means launch minus 1 day. So it is yesterday's information, and things obviously update, and it is just a forecast, a prediction.
10 minutes away from the next time that the launch director probably will poll here. So
fingers crossed, everyone.
We are closing in. Once again,
yeah, we just got to wait patiently. I hope you're all waiting patiently.
Kevin and Michael Reed in the background confirming I'm on vacation, which means I'm Alex Chauffeur today.
It's his new title.
Yep.
No longer live stream producer. Alex's chauffeur.
He's already like Ship 26 president fan club. Like, I feel like at the beginning our like title cards were very serious and like we had like proper titles on there. And now it's just slowly but surely evolving into a combination of weird overlaid memes.
I liked my description during the flame trench. I thought that was a perfect description for myself.
I think Ryan's description also is very accurate.
I normally go by the joke name of Falconologist, but I don't think that works.
There's Ryan's card, by the way.
Thanks, Carson. Thanks. You know, really wonderful. Thanks.
Wonderful.
Looking through chat
Good.
Improbable Scout is asking, any news on when the first crew flight from Slick 40 will be? And I believe, Adrian, if it's the mission I'm thinking of, it could be this month.
Yes, there's a certain mission, you might have heard about it, called Polaris Dawn, which is right now net July 31st, and that would indeed launch crew from Slick 40 on the Crew Dragon Resilience, which is a very exciting mission because it will feature potentially the first EVA done by a private astronaut, and an EVA, and basically the mission also would go high, basically the furthest we have been since the Apollo missions. So quite an interesting mission we are looking at the potentially around the end of the month. According to the latest update from Polaris and Jared Isaacman. And yeah, one of probably the coolest mission that will happen this year. And yes, by the way, just to say, we will probably stream that.
You think? I mean,
Yeah,
I'll be out here, but you think we're gonna have some cameras on it?
Yeah, there's a good chance. I think there might be one or two people in the field for Polaris and maybe watch the launch, and maybe we'll do like 4 hours coverage or so. We'll see. Somewhere around that line.
And Todd Johnson has gifted 20 Red Team memberships. So first of all, on behalf of NSF, thank you very much. And second of all, on behalf of the 20 people in chat who just got access to the Red Team membership program for free, thank you very much as well. If you got one of them, make sure to thank Todd Johnson in chat, because you're supporting NSF, and then 20 people get access to memberships for free. I mean, if you suddenly see your name green at some point, no, we haven't charged your card. You've been gifted a membership, so you're very welcome. And I hope you enjoy all the behind the scenes photos and videos and things that Chris posts in the membership area of the channel page there. So yeah. And I'm also seeing a few messages in chat saying things along the lines of like those Bitcoin streams stealing content and things. Don't worry, you're in the official place. You know, thank you for tuning into the official place. We're aware of things. Chris B is working the magic in the background, so do not fear, everybody. Thank you, everybody, as well, for tuning in on NSF's channel. Let's have a look through here. Coming up on 44 minutes to go. 38 minutes is that critical time that we're waiting for. We'll either see a tweet that says we're go, or a tweet that says a new T0 has been established.
I'm refreshing constantly the website.
And there is that timeline on the left-hand side. That 38-minute mark should be coming up in just about 5.5 minutes' time.
We are certainly getting closer. Hopefully. We have been here before, Ryan.
Yes, we have.
Like, this is, I think around 38, 39 minutes was the last time when we saw always the more delays confirmed, right?
I'm just going to not try and curse anything, be optimistic and hope that we'll get something positive for once today.
I agree. I wanna see this fly.
And whilst we have the time to do it, I'm just going to quickly run through B1076's entire manifest that it's flown. This is going to be its 15th attempt to fly or launch mission, let's put it that way. It first flew back in November of 2022, launching CRS SpX-26 to the International Space Station from Launch Complex 1308 in Florida. It then launched OneWeb 16 in January of 2023. Oh, sorry.
It's just the manifest.
Carson, you panicked me, and I thought that we were looking at a new T0 for a second there. Phew! I'll continue. Its first Starlink mission was in February of 2023. Sorry, everybody. I was genuinely concerned we had a new T0 there for a second. It then launched Intelsat 40E/Tempo in April of last year. It launched Starlink 6.3, 6.6, 6.14, 6.21, then O3b mPOWER 5 and 6 in November of last year. Those, of course, for SES. Then it launched OVZON 3 this year on the 3rd of January. That was SpaceX's second mission of 2024. Returning back to landing zone 1. It then launched Starlink Group 640 in February. Eutelsat 36D in March, at the end of March. 2 more Starlink Group 6 missions, 54 and 64. And now it stands vertical on Slick 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station with Türksat 6A inside of the payload fairing, targeting a launch in 40 and a bit minutes time and a landing on the drone ship. Just read the instructions, situated downrange in the Atlantic Ocean. And the bushes are moving very slowly now, which is giving me confidence.
We are getting good signs here. I don't know if I have the weather board ready, but it looks like things are good right now. We'll see if SpaceX agrees with that assessment, our very unprofessional assessment here, because they, of course, have the more professional data. But at least from what we can see and what everything looks like right now, it might just go.
And Echo is asking how much longer is left in the window if they do have to push it some more. And Adrian, I believe this was a 4-hour window, which opened at 20 minutes past 5 in the evening. It's currently 50 minutes past 6, so we are 90 minutes into this 4-hour window, which would mean 2.5-ish hours to go from this point.
Let me think. Didn't it open at 5:20?
Yes.
So we are, yeah. So we are all gonna. So this current T0 is 1 hour, 2 hours and 10 minutes into the window. By the way, there's the weather board. So if this T0 pushes, they can push now for 1 hour and 50 more minutes. If I'm not mistaken here.
And D is reporting blue skies over the viewing area at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. So it's looking pretty. And the storm has appeared to kind of drift away from Fleet Cam and the Cape Cams. So, yeah.
Ryan, that's actually good
exciting
weather.
Thanks, Adrian. Any weather where it's not raining, you can see the sun, I class that as good weather. Just saying, good weather.
So apparently the window is not exactly 4 hours. It actually closes around 9:13. So it's a bit less than wait, let me do 60 110 minutes into the after this that they have time. A bit less.
Okay. SpaceX needs to make their website more accurate. Just saying.
38 minutes now. We are now in the polling phase where the launch director probably polls the whole team about if they proceed with propellant loading. Should this happen, we will see condensation frost forming at the bottom of the rocket roughly in 5 minutes from now, and we should also get SpaceX confirmation very soon if this happens. We have crossed this point a few times before, but so far we have not seen any more signs of delay. So this is looking way more promising right now. We'll wait for SpaceX to either confirm propellant loading or for us to see signs of propellant loading, which both could occur. It's sometimes a bit random what occurs first. It's a race between condensation appearing on the rocket and SpaceX confirming they're actually going for it.
Just have to sit patiently with the fingers crossed. Let me get that information shortly. But yeah. I'm waiting now. That's all I'm doing, everybody. I'll be honest, I'm just waiting. I won't try to fool you into anything else because I want to know if they're going to launch today or not. 37 minutes now. I can see many people in chat as well, very excited that Alex is going to be able to watch a launch in person.
$36 minutes now, still no signs of more delays.
Just not wanting to jinx anything, being patient,
I'm just updating, I'm not saying
waiting.
I'm just updating, Ryan.
Yep.
I'm just
updating.
stating the facts.
Yep.
We are
Patiently waiting. We are now past that 38-minute mark, and we are awaiting official confirmation from SpaceX that they have entered the fueling operations for today's launch of Türksat 6A.
Yep. And if they do that, they would start propellant loading in 60 seconds from now. Everybody think good thoughts now.
That's another indication, visual indication. Of course, the strong back from this position does kind of get in the way a little bit, but thanks to the carbon soot that's stuck to the side of Falcon 9 from its re-entries, we can actually see the frost rising on the booster ever so slightly, which helps to indicate when liquid oxygen load is underway, because that is, of course, cryogenic. RP1 is not cryogenic, so it doesn't cause that kind of those frost lines from the humid Floridian air to kind of, well, water in the air freezes. That's your TLDR of how frost works.
And if propellant load is starting indeed for this 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time launch window, it would start in 2, 1, now. And we will now watch for visual indication for that, because that's now the thing that we need to spot. We need to spot some visual indication in terms of condensation that this rocket is being fueled. Which means I'm sitting forward in my chair and go unhealthily close to my screen.
It's raining outside my house now. I wonder if I have some kind of curse that as long as it's raining outside my house, it won't rain at the pad. I don't know. I've just looked at the weather radar and the entire south half of England is engulfed in a rain storm right now. But, you know, that's standard operating procedure here on this side of the Atlantic.
Staring at this Falcon 9. Yeah, I think so far nothing. But it takes about 60 more seconds to be... Oh?
Are there wisps?
I think I see wisps. I'm not sure if that's my eyes, but we'll see. It will be very clear in about 60 seconds from now. That's the time where we really have a clear view. I point out where I see it. But
I'm hesitant to declare anything just yet because, of course, this is Florida, which means even on the clearest of days, there is still a little bit of haze. So it's difficult to confirm anything without an official statement from SpaceX.
Yeah,
However, we will be
it's
watching when we will be waiting.
it's now a matter of like it's a matter of seconds until we will get clear signs. Usually, if they are go for propellant loading, but it's just like you sometimes don't trust your eyes, right? Because you see
Yeah.
something, but you do not dare to declare it because it could be nothing.
Your brain
It's
wants
always
to imagine what you want to see, so
I think I see the frost spot growing on the left side now. On the left side of yeah, there's frost. Okay, if you look on the basically the part where the two diagonals of the transport erector start to go in, and then you have like the completely vertical structure on the left side of the rocket. There's frost. So this Falcon 9 is now being loaded.
I see what you see. So that must have meant that the launch director gave that go for propellant load, and we are now underway with the loading of the first stage liquid oxygen and first stage rocket propellant 1, which is obviously the oxidizer and the fuel respectively for this vehicle.
Yep. 100% sure now. You can now see it really clearly, the white spot on the left side of the rocket. That's frost.
And that frost is forming because inside of that tank is liquid oxygen, which is very, very, very cold, and that cools the skin of the rocket, which when it comes into contact with the humid air in Florida, all of that water in the air will freeze onto the surface of the Falcon 9, which is why that frost appears. Other rockets in the past, famously SLS, the space shuttle, they use that orange insulation foam to stop frost freezing on the outside of the vehicle. Falcon 9, on the other hand, and Starship and the like, they just let the frost freeze on the outside, and as SpaceX says there, all systems are looking good for today's launch of Türksat 6A, and the weather conditions have improved for liftoff. The propellant load is underway. As we saw with that visual confirmation, we now have official confirmation via that statement from SpaceX.
I would like if we had a number for how much they've improved, rather than just knowing they've improved.
It's like
better.
improved to 31 or to 80. Like both are improving. So that's always the interesting part here. Of course, we should mention this T0 at the top left is now locked in. They either launch in 30 minutes and 12 seconds from now, or they don't launch today. That's confirmed now. Because Falcon 9 does not have the ability to like rapidly hold and then go back into countdown. This T0 right now is completely locked in. There's no wiggle room anymore.
Yeah, any recycle would require a 24-hour, let's do it again tomorrow evening, kind of turnaround here for this mission, because that's Falcon 9's philosophy. SpaceX have that load and go. They chill everything down to make it as condensed and as efficient a propellant as possible. That, of course, means when you put it in the rocket, it then will, if you leave it in the rocket for too long, it will boil off, and if they wait any time past T0, it will be too long. It will have boiled off. The efficiency of that propellant will have degraded to such a condition that they will no longer be able to perform the mission characteristics in which they have been contracted to do so by Türksat, whose payload is currently sitting inside of that white payload fairing at the top of your screen there. So that's why we need to launch at T0 with no holds after prop load begins. There's arguments for and against. However, this is SpaceX's philosophy. And now, the wait is on.
Yep, it's kind of so. Look, it feels weird now because we have now waited for this the whole or like half the window here with almost 2 hours, and now we're in operations mode, right? Now you have to get serious here again.
For the first time today, we have an official, solid time where we can launch, and if we don't, we're not doing it today at all. So it's nice to have an official number when that will take place, and that official number is 30 minutes past the hour, which is in 28 minutes' time. And I'm seeing some vehicles drive past the front of the frame here. And for anybody wondering, D, those aren't near the pad, right? Those are near you, correct?
Yeah, those are not anywhere near the pad. Those are like a couple 100 feet in front of us. There is another roadway going to one of SpaceX's buildings. And so, yeah, they're nowhere near the rocket itself.
Which is understandable because you don't want a near lifting off rocket.
No, and one that's being fueled at that. You know, I wouldn't want to stand near Falcon 9 when it's being fueled, let alone when it's lifting off. Definitely not when it's lifting off.
It's always weird because we are kind of losing the sense of scale with how big this rocket is because of Starship, because you're talking about like how big Starship is, but Falcon 9 is a huge rocket. Like in terms of performance, it's one of the most powerful rockets on the planet. And it's sometimes kind of like almost being now in the shadow of Starship because you're like, oh, it's the 9 meter, almost 100 or like 100 meter tall rocket. But Falcon 9 still big one.
Yeah, about 6.5 minutes away from that famous 20-minute vent, T-minus 20-minute vent. So, Adrian, I will ask you, what's the point of the T-minus 20-minute vent?
It's to prepare basically the ground lines and everything for second stage LOX loading. At T-minus 16 minutes, they will start to do second stage LOX loading, and that's basically like the conditioning and the purge of the lines to that second stage before that LOX is being fueled onto the second stage.
Patiently waiting now. At the end of the
we
day,
can see the frost line
for
rising.
A long time.
You can see the frost line now very clearly rising on the left side here of the rocket. You can see this white spot there. That's the frost here as Falcon 9 is getting fueled. So there it goes. That's not the rocket suddenly losing its sud again. That's the frost,
which is being stuck on top of the soot. That's it there, Adrian. I believe it's basically kind of baked in. It's very difficult to scrub off.
Yeah, it's not like people are sometimes saying like, "Hey, why can they not wash it?" It's not that easy. It's basically baked in during these launches. So the soot is more like part of the structure as it's just like a layer on it. So yeah, that frost is going over that soot, and that kind of shows you how sticky that soot is.
And Alex, I'll ask you now. We're 25 minutes to go. Are you getting excited by any chance to see your first launch? He told me he was there. You know, I asked him.
Sorry, talking while muted. Yeah. Well, I will be a lot more excited if I was not chased by two bees. Because there seem to be two very specific bees that are really liking my scent, I guess.
Yeah, it's please ignore the bees. They might also watch the launch. Oh yeah, by the way, we got some updates in the back channel about this bee situation, and at first was just one bee. Now we are hearing it's two bees now. So I feel like Alex.
These are mission critical updates from Cars Park.
Yeah,
my
like
favorite
Cars
update
Park
was
updates.
the video.
Yeah, we will not show it, but it's a video.
But I guess we can now publicly confirm a video of this event does now exist.
we had some fun.
You know, you were explaining before the T-minus 20-minute event, and I just realized this is going to be the first time that I'm going to see it in person. It's going to be a little bit in the distance, though.
The legend,
the
T-minus 20-minute event, yeah.
Did you bring any binoculars?
No, I didn't.
Binoculars.
Oh, come on! That's too cruel.
Sorry.
It would be unfortunate if these two friends of yours, Alex, would disrupt you as soon as the rocket lifts off. But I wonder I wonder if there's ever been like a study into how rocket launchers affect insects, because everyone knows that famous image of the seal with its headphones on when SpaceX wanted to start launching Falcon 9 from Vandenberg, but you can't really do that to a bee, can you?
Well, I mean, it's probably not good to do that.
I mean, chat has now descended into a pit of puns.
Yep.
Yeah. I was seeing that. It was, it was getting distracted by all the puns. That's.
Yeah, it's completely just bee puns.
Yeah, we have James saying behave, Crumble also saying behave, Alex, bee mania.
I can make more puns. Like, for example, I know this Falcon 9 launch will be beautiful.
Beware of the bees.
Just 2 more minutes until the T-minus 20-minute event. Can you believe it? That's crazy.
Alex, can you please ask the bee if it likes jazz?
Adrian, I saw that. Well, not but heard. What is the request?
Is it just me or did Alex go robot?
Yep, but
because I moved a little bit. Hang on.
Yeah, don't
stop
move.
moving.
What was the request? I'm excited. Come on, you give me a break. There's also more rainbow, by the way, towards the port. I'm looking now in that direction. There's a beautiful rainbow, and also more bees.
Nice. Before we get into the T-minus 20-minute event here, Alex, I will just remind you that the rocket is to the north of you, not the south, so don't look at the port. And that T-minus 20-minute event will be coming up ever so shortly.
In just a minute from now, we will see it. It's not coming from the rocket itself. Don't be wondering about that. It is coming from the TE.
I have the best one. Chris B is now in chat saying, "What's all the buzz about?" 2 in a row. Let's go.
I've so silent through all these bee jokes, but I've been thoroughly enjoying them.
Yeah, it's hard to stop. It's kind of addicting, I have to say. But hey, T-minus 20 minutes. Alex, get ready to view it in person. It's about to happen.
We're 10 seconds away. Exactly, yeah.
Very quickly, Telstar86, thanks for gifting a Red Team membership, and Booster1058, thanks for the €5. Thinking positive thoughts just for Alex. Looks like he needs the support with the bees surrounding him, and there
it is. Hello, T-minus 20-minute vent. That means they're chilling down the lines now for second stage blocks loading, and it also confirms that this countdown is going smoothly.
I can see it from here.
Nice.
Not very big
It's small today though, because there's not a lot of the conditions are not such that it is very big, but I can see it.
It's a
it's evaporating very quickly.
Yeah, sometimes the weather conditions really, make for a really nice big plume, but today, unfortunately, it's not that big. But it's still visible. I can still see it. It's nice.
The
nice
wind
to know
also
that we're on
appears
track.
to be kind of blowing it behind the rocket here. We had the windsock on the previous shot before we zoomed in. It was, the wind is kind of pushing it north, and obviously D and Alex, you'll be watching from the southern side of the pad, so that could be why it looks smaller as well, because we're kind of looking at it end on rather than side on as we sometimes do. There we go.
Everything going smoothly here for the looking good for Türksat 6A.
We are now, next up, going to be approaching the start of the liquid oxygen load on stage 2, which will be in just under 3 minutes' time. So just 18 and a bit minutes to lift off. Bideford, a very common name in chat, always giving out the support, gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you very much, Bideford. Always appreciated. And Laura is asking, will there be any new launch pads for Falcon 9? And this is a very interesting question, Adrian, because we have seen SpaceX acquiring a pad at Vandenberg, but they haven't really officially said what's going to be launching from there. I assume it might be another Falcon pad from Vandenberg, maybe?
Yeah, it's certainly, it feels like it's a bit in the airish, but it could be that they're increasing cadence from Vandenberg. Yes. We do not expect any more launch pads from the Cape for Falcon 9, of course, with 39 and 40. But it seems they might ramp up to potentially 2 launch pads on Vandy. So we'll see if that happens. But that's, I think, the maximum we will get on the Falcon 9 launch kind of time here, because at some point, of course, the company plans to phase out a majority of these missions to Starship, because right now a majority of the missions on Falcon 9 are Starlink missions, and Starlinks are expected to move basically to Starship as soon as they can, because they expect it to be the cheaper vehicle with the full reusability. So that's their goal, and that will, of course, cut into the launch cadence of Falcon 9. So we expect maybe 4 launch pads. I would guess that at some point in this year or next year, we will see probably the peak of Falcon 9 launch rate, maybe the year after, somewhere in that range. And at some point, even Falcon 9 will start to decrease in launches.
The nozzle, I'm not sure which nozzle it is, but I hope it isn't a stubby nozzle, has gifted 1 Red Team membership, so thank you very much for that. I will also say, I don't think we're expecting a stubby nozzle on today's mission. This is a heavy satellite to geostationary transfer orbit, so a proper, full-size, correct nozzle. Max isn't on right now, so I'll keep going. Appropriate nozzle, the best nozzle. I've run out. Anyway, that's what we're expecting to see in just over 16 minutes' time.
I like stubby nozzle.
Oh, it's been ruined. It's been ruined.
Yeah, also a majority of our...
Max heard me say that and hopped in just saying thank you. So I had to get his comment in here.
Yeah, apparently even a majority of our chat likes stubby nozzles, so there you go. By the way, the T-minus 20-minute vent has died down, which is fitting because right now they are starting second stage LOX loading.
And I can now say a direct quote from Alex saying, getting out of the stinking bees. So, okay, Alex. I hope you enjoy the launch. Have fun.
There's one person on this planet I'm happy that they see Falcon 9 launching. It's the person that knows crazy about this rocket.
Yeah. He knows so much. Like a scary amount.
Yeah, it's honestly crazy sometimes how much Alex knows about Falcon 9.
The amount of information that one person can hold in their brain, you know.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's been like studied or something. It's just crazy.
Yeah, we should do that. By the way, we are not joking about that. Sometimes you show him pictures of like a launch 2 years ago, and he identifies it.
Like, oh yeah, the Starlink 413. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it makes sense because, of course, the ground structure looked like that, and it cannot only be that one. And you're like, huh? Yeah, of course.
You see some more cars moving right to left. Don't worry, they're not going to the pad. They're going to another SpaceX building. The lens compression, zooming in, all that jazz means it makes things that are far away look close and close at the same distance. So, you know, don't worry, they're not going to the pad. They're closer to the camera than they are to the pad.
14 minutes to go here.
We're now very much into stage 2 liquid oxygen load.
And the next milestone is at T-minus 7 minutes. That's where the Falcon 9 begins engine chill of its 9 Merlin engines prior to launch.
And that chill down means that I'll use a phrase that Das used on the Firefly stream the other day. That means that the engines aren't surprised when they get fuel added to them, because fuel very cold, and Florida not cold, so you need to make sure the engines are cold so they're ready to accept the cold propellant.
You don't want to kind of like cryo shock your whole engine with like suddenly putting minus 150 or more degrees cold propellants through them. And also there's the other effect where you imagine you have warm tank wall or like warm pipe wall still, and you put liquid oxygen through that. there's also the effect that that liquid oxygen will start to turn into very much gaseous oxygen because the walls are so warm. So there's two sides of the effect here.
And I just saw someone in chat ask if we will have a behind-the-scenes Alex reaction cam. It was Shake the Grave Records asking, Alex cam reaction would be cool. I won't confirm anything, but wink wink, Julia Bergeron might have something up her sleeve for us.
12 more minutes to go, 12 and a half, actually.
And Willing Spy, this is funny. Objects on the screen may be closer than they appear. Brilliant. Here we go. Just over 12 minutes to go. Sun coming, the lighting becoming a little bit more warm as the sun approaches the horizon. No chance for a jellyfish today at this T0, unfortunately. We are now approaching 18 minutes past 7 in the evening. Sunset at Cape Canaveral. I searched it up earlier, and I've just forgotten, 2023, 23 minutes past 8 in the evening. So we are launching today approximately 50 minutes before sunset. So this is not jellyfish conditions, unfortunately, but it means we do get a nice side-lit launch from Slick 40. Richard, thanks very much for the £10 correct currency super chat. Jack always calls them curly L's. I don't know where he gets that from.
It's a curly L.
Well, it's a curly S then for the dollar sign, you know?
Yeah.
I might be biased, but, you know, best currency. It's got the king on it. And we have Telstar86 again in the support queue, gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you very much, Telstar86. It's in your name a lot today.
Thank you, Telstar.
And we are now a couple seconds from T-minus 11 minutes. 4 minutes until that engine chill will begin.
Yep, getting close here. So far, we are looking at a rocket that is being fueled, and we have no indication of any issues Falcon 9 or the SpaceX teams are working on. Weather is the only thing we don't know really about, because SpaceX only told us that the conditions improved. The initial conditions were 30%, so we are somewhere between 31 and 100.
And as we approach 10 minutes to go, Way North Drones has a good question, asking, has anyone at SpaceX talked about building a public viewing tower for fans to take photos and videos of launches? I don't think so, but there are multiple locations around the area where launch viewing can take place. I mean, NASA, for their missions that they contract or launch, they have their viewing area at the Saturn V Center, or at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, and you can buy tickets and watch a launch. I watched Psyche from there, so it has a beautiful view of Complex 39B and 39A. Alex and Kevin are going to be watching from Cars Park, which is basically all the way to the south, just on the coast, and it gives you a beautiful view of Slick 40 and loads of the other pads at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. We actually made a video about this.
Yeah.
That the Cape team went out and basically went to all the different locations you can go to view a launch from, and there's multiple different locations from all the way in Titusville along US 1 to closer to the pad to paid areas you can go to. Jetty Park you can go to. We also have our friends at Starfleet Tours. For big launches, they sometimes charter a boat and you actually go out into the ocean outside of the hazard zones, but it means you get a very unique view of the launch, especially Falcon Heavies, where there's the double boost back and the double booster landing. We saw it with the recent GOES launch, GOES U. That was something special. And D, another very quick, before we send you off, another very quick report on the wind. That's the word I was looking for. On the breeze, it looks calm.
Yeah, it is
now as well.
It's a really calm breeze. We've got the sun just above a set of clouds to our west, and so we've got some really nice golden lighting here. Breeze is really calm. There are a couple of clouds north of us in the direction of the pad, but they are really thin, high-altitude clouds, not the sort of thing that cause the issues with launches. So it has turned into an absolutely gorgeous evening for a launch, and I look forward to capturing it.
Well, thank you very much, Z. Good luck. Have fun. And we'll
Thank
see
you.
you in probably, I don't know, about 10 minutes' time.
Yeah, see you on the other side.
So it's just us at this point, Ryan.
Yep. Patiently waiting for
Yep.
this 7.5 minutes to tick down. And then start ticking back up again. Because payload deploy today is not like an hours after launch like the Starlinks. It's only 35 minutes after launch. So stick around and we'll see Türksat 6A deploy from Falcon 9. Apocalypse Cow, thank you very much. That's another name we see quite often in chat, gifting 5 red team memberships. So thanks for the support, and everyone who got one of them, you're very welcome. And Telstar86 again in the support queue is upgraded to be a launch director member. I believe that's the second highest level we have. That's a very significant amount of support, and that's recurring monthly support. So again, thank you very much. You know, it always astounds me. We see people in chat doing supers or doing gifted memberships, and they're members already. They're already subscribing themselves to the membership program on a high level, and it's a recurring membership once a month. I mean, it's just kind of mind-blowing, the support that we get. And, for a brief moment, we saw a live shot there from the drone ship, where it is still daylight. And it looks a little bit cloudy, so maybe we might get some interesting views as Falcon 9 B1076 descends through the cloud layers. We'll just have to wait and see, so stay tuned for that. Roseanne, thank you very much for the $20 super chat. Thank you very much for the support. And Leo Gaming as well has become a Pad Wrap member. Thank you very much. Just under 6 minutes to go now. 5 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yep, we are well
We should now
passed
be-
into engine chill.
Yep, and what have we got next on the timeline? It looks like we're now all got the events at T-minus 1 minute, which is when the flight computer will begin the final pre-launch checks, and the pressurization of the propellant tanks begins.
Yep, that's the next step here that is happening basically on this countdown. And they are that's always an interesting point, because sometimes you get into the situation where as soon as the launch computer takes over, it sees something it doesn't like, and it's like, nope, not launching today. So this 59-second mark is always a very interesting one. It happens very rarely, but it can.
Very, very warm lighting starting to appear now at Cape Canaveral.
Yes.
Looking very, very pretty. Maybe the
Yeah, we're
storm, maybe the wait for the storm was actually worth it.
I think based on everything we have seen right now, and on all the conditions, on all the cameras, this might shape up to be a very gorgeous launch.
Just over 4 minutes to go now. Patiently waiting, as we have been doing for a long time. I'll shut up about it at some point, I promise, don't worry.
4 minutes and 10 seconds to go. It's going. Everything looking
as you
good
can
here. Go ahead.
As you can see from the bushes in front, it's a very, very calm breeze now.
Yeah, I doubt winds will be any concern for this launch.
You can even see it with the little vents on the side there now. Like, they're essentially falling straight down. There's barely any wind to push them off the vehicle. Also getting an excellent view there through the strong back of the frost build-up on B1076, that first stage booster for today. And as we approach 3 minutes to go, I have to acknowledge this.
Yes.
Ali, a name we always see in chat, doing huge gifted memberships and huge supers and the like, has gifted 50 red team memberships. That is crazy, utterly crazy. I cannot even fathom how many of these you did during the Starship launch stream. And it's Alex. There you go. Alex is at Cars. Hello, Alex. We can't hear him, so, you know, well, good in my opinion. Anyway, Ali, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is a incredibly generous.
Enormous.
Yeah, you support NSF. 50 people. 50, like, it's difficult to realise how many people. Imagine 50 people in a room right now. Those people now have access to the NSF membership program. All of those behind-the-scenes photos from Starbase, from the Cape, from everywhere we go, from when we send Jack out to see Europa Clipper, all of those things. They now get to see those pictures and videos for free for a month. So, thank you very much, Charlie. As always, I'm sure you know this by now. You're always in chat. You're always gifting, but thank you so much. As we now approach T-minus 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. 2 minutes from now, we might see a rocket launch.
You daren't jinx it, do you, Adrian?
And we should once again probably tell you this is Türksat 6A. It's part of the Türksat constellation, which is a geo constellation that provides telecommunication, for example, also television. And this will provide television for a wide range of regions, all the way from basically the western part of Europe all the way to China. So huge cover of the satellite. And it's a quite beefy satellite of over 4 tons that will launch to a geostationary transfer orbit today by SpaceX, and then SpaceX will raise and then the satellite itself will raise the orbit over time from GTO to GEO.
And as we start to hear the sounds of the viewing area, it's 1 minute to go, 60 seconds to go.
Falcon 9 is now on internal power. So, everything looking good.
45 seconds. This is where the launch director should verify go for launch. We obviously don't have access to those countdown nets for today's launch.
Waiting for the confirmation of the launch director that today's mission is indeed go for launch.
Let's go. So next up, at 3 minutes to go, the engine controller will ignite or command all 9 Merlins to ignite at the base of the vehicle. We'll also see some water deluge there beforehand. 10 seconds to go now. Let's listen in. Keep an eye out for
Oh, there's deluge. You can see it already.
Should get an ignition. There it is. And liftoff. We're off and away with Türksat 6A. Look at that beautiful launch into the sunset here in Florida. Let's listen in. Over a minute and 10 seconds into flight. Look at those clouds. Absolutely beautiful stuff to see from the onboard cameras of Falcon 9. We're pitching down range. We're about to hit max Q and pass through the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will see during this mission. Absolutely beautiful, crisp crackle from those Caralox Merlins as Falcon 9 pushes this 4.5 metric ton communication satellite to its geostationary transfer orbit.
And we are seeing now the plume expand as the atmosphere is less dense, and the plume can basically expand, has less forces to push against. There you can see it very clearly. Gosh, that looks amazing.
Peeking through the clouds here.
Yep, and we are 30 seconds away from Miko.
All 9 Merlins will cut off. The stages will separate. And then that second stage Merlin, that vacuum optimized Merlin, will ignite to push Türksat 6A the rest of the way until it deploys at T plus 35.5 minutes.
Depending on what we'll see through the clouds here, we might just see the shutdown very imminently. There's the rocket in space.
That plume greatly expanded now. There's the second stage with that central pusher. Here's Miko. And stage separation is confirmed.
Go.
There's the ignition.
No stiffening again.
And that second stage is on its way. B1076 is now going to slowly drift up to its apogee before descending back down to Earth. It's landing on, just read the instructions, that first stage landing taking place at approximately 8.5 minutes into flight. About 5.5 minutes to go for B1076.
Yep, and that burn of the second stage lasts until 8 minutes and 7 seconds, where it will perform SECO 1. And then we have another burn at 27 minutes, which will last for 1 minute and 3 seconds, which then will result in SECO 2, and the Türksat 6A satellite is planned deployed at 35 minutes and 31 seconds.
On board now with the booster. You can see some little specks of things drifting away. Don't worry, that's just a little bit of frost, a little bit of ice. And I believe that's in the background a fairing, which has just separated from the second stage. Unfortunately, we lost video signal from the second stage during fairing separation, but I believe we can see one on the other side of the camera, just the other side of the vehicle, sorry, just drifting away. And those will be recovered by SpaceX's fairing recovery ship, Bob.
Yep. Reusing as much as they can. Next up, coming up, is the entry burn, just in 2 minutes from now. Looking good
Beautiful
so far.
views of Earth.
Yeah, I really feel like, yes, the delay was a bit annoying, but it really resulted in us getting amazing views of this launch and also amazing sound. Like this was everything you kind of hope for a Falcon 9 launch. I feel like this was just kind of perfect.
Very pretty launch, very pretty launch. And as you can see in the bottom left, that stage 1 telemetry, its velocity is now increasing, its altitude is now decreasing, it's surpassed its apogee for today, it is now descending back down to Earth, it's falling back down to Earth, and it's using those gas thrusters to keep its attitude, its desired attitude. The grid fins have deployed, and those will become effective once it descends into the thicker parts of the atmosphere. You can see those cables kind of look like they're dangling. This first stage is probably under peculiar forces, I would say. That's how it would feel, at least, if you were inside of that interstage. Approaching 6 minutes into flight now. The entry burn of that booster is expected at 16 minutes. 6 minutes and 16 seconds rather, so in about 10 seconds time.
And we are getting ready to see the entry burn now, which will then slow the rocket down quite significantly ahead of it hitting the thicker part of the atmosphere, because otherwise that booster would probably have a hard time surviving that.
Yeah.
As in, it would
coming up shortly. There we go.
Yep, there's the 1 and now 3 Merlin engines. It first starts as 1, and then it turns into this beam almost. That's when 3 are ignited. And it's now slowing itself down. You can see it in the bottom left how it's slowing down as 3 Merlin engines are now burning. And now it's back to 1 and shut down.
We're now at 40 kilometers in altitude, descending rapidly. You'll see the grid fins start to turn as they start to take authority of the control of the vehicle. Cold gas thrusters, are they cold gas? I can't remember. The thrusters take much less, are much less effective the thicker the atmosphere is.
Yep, you can start to see them a bit wiggling now. It's starting.
Yeah. And that atmospheric drag is causing the velocity to decrease rapidly. We're now 15 kilometers in altitude. And just as I say that, we're already through 13 and 12. Less than 3,000 kilometers an hour now.
And we do not expect launch landing audio for this one because this just read the instructions, and usually we get the landing audio from ASOC.
Mm-hmm. Just read the instructions. Are much more, I won't say older, mature drone ship, shall I say.
Yeah, probably at some point getting some upgrades, and then we will also get a landing audio, hopefully, from that.
That landing burn should be starting in approximately 10 seconds' time, with a landing
Look at that.
15 seconds afterwards.
Did you see that around the grid fin? Oh, you can see the air around the grid fin.
Yeah. We're going to see some beautiful views as we descend through the cloud layers here. Unfortunately, it looks like it might be blocking the signal ever so slightly, but we do have shutdown of the second stage Merlin. That looks good, with a beautiful sunset in the background.
Now starting the first coasting.
And we'll stand by for confirmation on that first stage.
There's Türksat 6A. That's the satellite of today's mission.
And we can see the telemetry lerping to 00, and there we go. Successful touchdown for the 15th time. B1076 is back on Earth on a very wet, and it looks like it's raining currently on board. Just read the instructions.
Yeah, heavy conditions there in the landing. You can see like it's raining. It's almost like a little storm around that area. So kind of interesting that these conditions
it's not close
they
to
land
the middle
in.
of the deck either. It's quite close to the edge. So
yeah, certainly interesting conditions.
And there is Türksat 6A, Türksat's latest generation communication satellite, now on its way to GTO. Like Adrian was saying earlier, that's not the end of the day. We have another burn from the second stage that will ignite at 27 minutes and 17 seconds into flight, shut down at 28 minutes and 20 seconds into flight, and then that satellite will be deployed at 35 minutes and 31 seconds into flight, so in just over 25 minutes time.
And it looked like the Octograbber garage was already opening there while we saw the landing footage. So it seems SpaceX really wanted to get this booster secured. For people who don't know, Octograbber is a small, like, I shouldn't say small, it's actually quite large. It's a structure that grabs the booster and has like, it's basically a very massive kind of crawler that makes sure that you're kind of like tied to the, it's you have a very center, like a very low center of mass, and that makes the booster more stable. And I also should correct myself, it's Octograbber and not Octograbber.
You can see the sunlight shining on Türksat 6A there. Going a little bit more orange, so we may be seeing that go behind the Earth ever so slightly soon.
And about 20 more minutes here. A bit more until we get the deployment of the Türksat 6A satellite, which is quite fast on today's mission. Like just 35 minutes until deployment. That's.
You can see there the sun dipping below. Is that the moon? Is that the moon in the background?
Could be, right? Certainly an object.
It's certainly a large object that's being lit by the sun in the background.
Interesting.
Just have to wait and see.
And you can see already this rocket is, or like the second stage, is already half over the Atlantic. And that also means there's probably some areas where there is no proper ground tracking station. So expect the feed and everything to drop from time to time. That's normal. Don't be scared about that.
Yeah, in order to have a ground station, you need ground. It's kind of an integral part of the name. So the closest one to the vehicle at the moment, I believe, would be Bermuda, but it doesn't look like we'll gain ground station coverage until the second stage is in line of a ground station. And unlike the Starship last flight, we don't have Starlink on board, unfortunately, for those live views. But this is, the good old days, except it's the current day, just without Starlink.
We apparently have some special replay.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know what's about to come. Oh, we're going to look at the Octograbber. There you go. So that's what we were talking about with the Octograbber in the background. The garage door. It's like a garage door in the background. It's slowly opening.
Yep, you can see
that's where the
Octograbber
is
opening. There it goes.
Just in case you were unaware.
It's protecting Octograbber from the forces of a Falcon 9.
Okay, so let's take a look at some replays of the launch. First of all, from the Kennedy Space Center press site. Ascending into the clouds here. Falcon 9B 1076. And whilst we take a look at these replays, I'm going to quickly run through a load of support because Ali did, you might not believe this, but Ali did a second gift of 50 Red Team memberships. 50 again. So in the span of about 10 minutes, Ali gifted 100 Red Team memberships. That for a launch like this, just an average Falcon 9 launch, is incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah.
And that's now
Thank you so much, Ali.
And we had gifted memberships earlier in the streams from other people. We have Todd Johnson gifting 20 Red Team memberships. I swear, for this launch alone, we have probably about 200 or more people who have now been gifted access for free to the membership area. And you get to see pictures from Boca Chica and other member perks, etc. I mean, just incredible. This community, I might be biased, but honestly, this community is one of the best communities out there on YouTube. And the gifted membership feature, I think, is just one of the best things ever because people now have access to the membership program for free.
I also want to quickly add, of course, this is not just like an average Falcon 9 because it's quite an astonishing payload. The Türksat 6A is a very, very capable satellite that was launched today to a GTO. So it's a really, really cool payload, and I love the wide coverage it has, and it's always cool to see something on Falcon 9 Fly that is not only like your everyday Starlink, but some very, very cool communication satellite that will help to enhance everyday life on Earth. That's one of these payloads when people ask you like, oh, why are you doing space? What's the sense of doing space? Well, look at this. This is a huge communication satellite that humanity is able to launch. That's very cool. And I also love we saw some excitement, of course, from the Turkish community here, which are very excited about this launch. And it's very, very cool to see.
Yeah, I've been seeing a load of the flags of Turkey being spammed in chat, so it's great to see everybody here. Very quickly, I will just quickly run through. Oh, he's done another one. They've done another one. That's another 50. I genuinely don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah. Thank you so much. There's no words, Ali, and we are glad you're enjoying the coverage, that you choose to support us that way, right? You're basically endorsing our coverage with that. So that's always also a good sign for us that you like this, and that's the best thing we can do. Provide you some cool things. Oh, this replay is going to be cool. Look at this.
Beautiful launch. This is from D, the real. We've got a slow-mo coming up, so stay tuned for that. But this is the real time from D. Just beautiful ascent here from Slick 40 with those clouds in the background. And the audio as well. Crisp crackle. Beautiful audio.
And I just wanted to hop back in here real quick now that the launch is done to say it was absolutely gorgeous. Gonna have to head out. We have packed up all our gear, so we're getting ready to head off base. But this has been a gorgeous launch.
Thanks for all of the waiting and I know there may have been a little bit of frustration at the start of the day, D, but thank you to you and Max for heading out there and setting up all the kit as usual. Luckily, with a lack of mosquitoes today.
Of course, always happy to be out here. Till next time.
And hopefully, if it'll work, I am wondering if we have someone else who is in the field back on after the launch of Türksat 6A.
Can you hear me?
You're a little bit muffled, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Alex,
Yeah,
how was
I'm
that?
on my AirPods, so it's a bit different audio. It was cool. I don't know. It was so many times seeing this through a screen, and now actually seeing it with my own eyes. It was really, really nice. And yeah, I was here. A lot of people out here that are fans of NSF, so I was approached by someone, so we were sort of talking. That's why I took a little bit to come back to comms, but really nice. And we unfortunately the podcast, but I can say the Stromback is up and vertical for the next launch to be a thing starting 10-4. Because of course the pace needs to continue. It's super windy right here, so I'm sorry if the audio is not perfect. We're in the field, so it's a bit of a makeshift kind of thing that we have to do for this.
We certainly lost some of the words, but we got the overall message, Alex, and I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm so happy for you that you could finally witness a Falcon 9.
It was, to me at least, the thing that I've always heard that the crackle can be heard for many, many minutes, and it is true. Like, I was looking at my clock, and I have our own countdown, and it was like 2 + 5.5 minutes, and I could still hear the crackle of the first stage. It's crazy. Unfortunately, the rocket went through the clouds about 2 minutes into flight, a bit after Mexico and such, so I was not able to see staging and all that. But sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But I still have 2 minutes of flight in my retinas, I guess.
Very, very cool.
And we might have some behind-the-scenes video coming shortly, so stay tuned, everybody. We have got a few minutes until that second stage ignites, and then we have the deploy of Türksat 6A. First of all, though, let's take a look at what Max was managed to catch.
Beautiful. Looks so beautiful.
There.
Yeah, the liftoff was gorgeous.
Bloom, igniting the steam, just everything beautiful. And some beautiful audio too. Beautiful crackle from those Merlins. And there you go. Photo
Look at
from
that.
Julia here, from Cars
Wow.
Park. Yeah.
It's crazy
see
that you
that
can
kind
capture
of-
that from Cars Park.
Yeah, that kind of mirage reflection on the surface of the water there from Cars Park. Beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. I love our photographers. There's like we have such a talented lineup of photographers. They're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So absolutely stunning.
And I'm just going to
We
quickly
have-
hit a little bit more support.
Go ahead.
So thank you, Roseanne, for another $2. Jonathan has become a Capcom member. Robert has upgraded to Launch Director. Telstar86 gifting more Red Team memberships. 5 more Red Team memberships. So, again, incredible number of Red Team memberships being gifted today. Thank you so much. Susan become a Padrat member. Forgive me, but I believe this is a Turkish name. I'll have great difficulty in pronouncing. But thank you very much for becoming a Red Team member after seeing today's launch of Türksat 6A and Telstar86 with a £2 super chat. Super chatting to shout out someone else who's been gifting membership, saying shout out to Ali, that's some insane support, and I happen to agree, Telstar86. So thank you so much, especially to Ali, but to everyone who's been gifting stuff, and everyone who's just tuned in to watch today. Thank you, because if you didn't tune in, we'd be talking to no one, and that'd be a little bit silly. So we have someone to share this epic world of spaceflight with.
Yep, absolutely. And I once again want to point out, like, it's such a cool thing to see. And like, I'm German, right? We don't have like a completely independent like space program that just flies to space, and I probably can relate with a country that doesn't have that much excitement for a space program as, for example, the United States has. And it's always cool to see your country involved in big space things, in like a big space program or a big constellation, or doing that constellation alone. So it's always, for me at least as a German, and I bet there's some Turkish people here that can relate to that, it's always this thing of like having a thing to point out to your non-spaceflight friends, having a thing to show like, hey, we are doing this. So I bet, and I 100%, like I saw some comments earlier about that, and I bet that's for sure a thing that yeah is like also resonating here. And we are closing in on the second stage ignition again.
27 minutes 17 seconds is when that second stage Merlin should reignite for a short burn, 1 minute and 3 second burn. So you can see there the grey trajectory is its current trajectory, the blue trajectory is the planned trajectory. So you can see just as it gets to the coast of Africa there, it'll do a little bit of an inclination change and a little bit of an increase in velocity to raise its apogee, as so the second stage is delivering Türksat 6A to a geostationary transfer orbit. Now this means it isn't delivering the satellite all the way to a stationary orbit, but it's delivering it a good chunk of the way to geostationary orbit. The satellite will then do its own burns to raise its perigee, its lowest point in its orbit, to get itself into that geostationary orbit, which is its final destination.
We see some ice there, and some, I think that's mostly ice we see there, flying around the Falcon 9. And we are about, let me look at the SpaceX countdown here again, at 27 minutes and 17 seconds, so less than 1 minute away from the ignition. So We are getting ready here. You can see the MVAC there in space, and soon it will ignite again for about 1 minute of burn to bring this payload all the way to GTO.
Ignition coming shortly.
Look at that speed in the bottom right. Like, that's going to be an
Increase
interesting one.
massively.
Yeah. Should be about to see ignition. I think we see first signs of that. There's some giant piece of ice.
And
That
there
just got
it goes.
melted.
It didn't last there for much longer. That ignition there created a huge kind of pressure differential that sucked it into the plume of that second stage engine. It's now been ejected to be, I don't know, destroyed. But there you go. Looks like a healthy relight there of the MVAC.
Look at that speed. Going so fast now. 30,000 and going even faster. This is changing the trajectory to bring the apogee, the highest point of the orbit, all the way to geostationary. The lowest point will not be there. That will be raised by Turksat 6A.
We're about 10 seconds from the cutoff there.
Usually there's some like telemetry checking of the MVAC, and like it will check itself and make sure that the orbital insertion is perfectly and fine. And
there you go.
That's
There's a bit of a wobble there actually on the nozzle there as it shut down.
And yes, we will stay live until separation, by the way.
Yeah, we're staying live till about 35 minutes. Let me just check my notes here. 35 minutes, 31 seconds is when I nearly did it as well. Türksat 6A will separate from Falcon 9, so stay tuned, everybody. We are now going over 36,000 kilometers an hour. Big increase. Altitude, you'll see there, we're now over 300 kilometers, and that'll be climbing.
Yeah, that's climbing fast now.
Yeah, you can see that trajectory is now turned from a bit of a curve to essentially a straight line as it escapes Earth's orbit all the way up to the altitudes of geostationary orbit.
Apparently we have a behind-the-scenes video. There we can see Kevin. I think that's Kevin, Michael, Reed, and Alex.
I think that is indeed.
See Alex absolutely calm with no nervousness whatsoever there.
Yep. Unfortunately, I don't think we can actually see the pad in this angle. I do wonder if we will get a reaction though.
I feel like we have a good chance to spot them when it actually launches. Like, I feel like there will be some sort of movement by Alex.
Yeah, keeps checking his watch.
Probably looked at how his heart rate is going. I bet.
No, I was
so
watching
happy.
my clock. I was looking at my countdown on my watch.
This is a bit of a video, so we will wait for it to actually happen. Alex taking a picture there.
Yeah, that was me grabbing a quick photo of the liftoff. Don't worry, I kept looking with my eyes.
There's liftoff, I think, or is it? No, it's not. Is it?
We'll find out. Yeah, look, Julia's taking a photo now, so she's looking.
And taking a picture of them too. That's there. Alex pointing between the clouds. Wonderful. Always cool to see more people in the NSF team seeing a rocket launch. I mean, we are covering rockets. It's good when we also see rockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see how they're looking more and more up.
Yeah, in between the clouds.
Alex explaining stuff.
Is that another bee? I don't know.
Alex did not drop his phone into the ocean, don't worry. He's fine.
Yes, I'm fine. I think. Yeah, you know, my reaction to the launch is like it's cool, but I'm also I don't know how to say this. Very analytical when I watch. So I went, no surprises here. I went to Colorado a couple of days ago, and I went to see B1021 there. And my reaction to seeing a booster up close, it was just looking at all of the components, all of the parts, all of the wells, and everything, analyzing everything. So of course, when I watched the launch, it was just me saying, going through all of the countdown sequence, and then as the rocket lifted off, I saw the pitch and down range, max Q, and all of those steps, and looking at my watch every now and then to see where in the count we were, what was supposed to happen. But I enjoyed it. It was amazing. The crackle was so cool as well, and yeah, I believe Julia has some kind of behind the scenes photo as well that we may show later.
Absolutely. And it's I feel that, by the way, Alex. I feel like, especially if you're more in this very analytical side of covering launches, which of course you are, and we had some other team members like that doing that, like you fall into the pattern of using the moment to understand more of the thing you cover, right? It's like, I have this one shot to understand more about it. I want to understand more about it. There we see. That's Kevin and Alex enjoying a launch. Wonderful picture by Julia.
Unfortunately, it looks like SpaceX is now having to play a video on behalf of Türksat, but that deploy should be coming up in just about 90 seconds time.
Yep, and we hope to get some footage of that deployment so we can see this satellite drifting into space. Yeah, I enjoyed this. Like, I enjoyed this launch in a lot of aspects. The team members that enjoyed the launch, the very gorgeous liftoff sound and the liftoff video, the overall funny times in the delays, the weather. I don't know. This kind of Falcon 9 coverage had it all in a good way.
It's been a long delay because of a massive storm, then a beautiful liftoff because those two things should go together, and then yeah, I mean, worth the wait. Worth the wait.
There we go. It's now crossing almost over Madagascar.
We're about 15 seconds away now from that deploy. 25 seconds maybe. I'm getting optimistic.
Yep. There's the payload.
You can see the adapter there between the second stage and the payload.
Any second now.
There it goes.
There you can see the small engine that will help it to propel it even more from GTO to GEO. But there goes Türksat 6A.
Falcon 9 has done its job, delivered Türksat 6A to its geostationary transfer orbit. And now its life will begin, serving areas of Europe, areas of Africa, Caspian Sea, Turkey.
And you know what this also means? This was mission success again, of course. This was the 69th Falcon launch of the year for SpaceX. The 71st, if you count Starship as well, because there were 2 Starship launches. Kind of crazy to say that as well. But yeah, another mission success.
Yep.
339th Falcon recovery attempt, successful with B1076. The second stage did its job perfectly, delivering Türksat 6A. So yeah, well done Falcon 9, well done SpaceX, and well done Türksat. Your satellite is now on its way to its destination. So, coming up next, stay tuned because we'll have Dee's incredible slow motion replay of the launch. But for now, first of all, Alex, thanks very much for coming on stream. And yeah, you've finally seen a Falcon 9 launch.
It's been a pleasure. You know me already that I always like to hang out on these live streams. At the end of the day, we're just a bunch of nerds talking about rockets, watching the rockets, finally in person, for me in my case. But, I really hope everybody at home also felt, a little bit of that excitement. I'm very analytical, but still have emotions. So thanks for having me, and see you guys on the next one.
Are you planning to watch any other launches whilst you're down there, or what's on your schedule?
Well, I'm gonna stay here for a little bit more, but I don't know if I'm gonna be staying for the next launch. The next launch should, in theory, be, I think it is this weekend, either Friday or Saturday. See, once I'm not at home, it's a little bit much harder for me to keep track of the launches.
I can tell you it's at 8:58 in the morning my time, which means that's 3:58 in the morning Eastern on Saturday.
Yep. Starlink 10-4.
I'm sure Alex will be thrilled to get up at that time to watch that launch. Adrian, thanks very much for joining me.
It was really fun. I enjoyed it, Ryan, and thanks for the hosting. I really enjoyed all of the stream today, and yeah, I hope the viewers also had some fun, even if we went a bit off the rails earlier.
I think the sticker podcast is perfectly on topic for today's launch. I'd also say thanks to I don't know if Dee's on comms anymore because they had to pack up, but Dee and Max in the field, thank you too so much as always for all the work you do bearing the weather, which has been suboptimal at the start of today's window at least. And Carson in the background pushing buttons, doing all the things. Thank you very much, Carson, for bearing with this very much longer stream than we anticipated. Thank you all for watching. Of course, don't forget
also
us, all the socials, all of those things.
And we also had Julia in the field recording behind the scenes and taking pictures. And we also had Kevin Michael Reed in the field, also taking pictures and videos. So kind of everybody.
They were very helpful. I'm gonna say they were very helpful, very welcoming, and I love them. So yeah, very nice team that we have here in Minnesota.
I'll also just do one final thank you to everyone who's done loads of, Ali in particular, incredible support. I missed a couple, sorry. Telstar86 has gifted another 5 Red Team memberships, and stop confusing me with Türksat. I apologise, Telstar86, but thank you and everyone else so much for the support and viewership today. It's greatly appreciated. And I think I'm getting the boot. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
And here we go.
We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RS-68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantic.
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPX off. Bring in SPX off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage. Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting the flare, correct?